Hello and welcome to World Cycling Productions video of the 83rd Tour de France. I'm Phil Liggett and it's great to be back with you as always. The Tour de France this year covered 5 countries. It covered a distance of 2,400 miles. It brought together 198 of the finest bike riders in the world. The route itself going first to the Alps, then going across to the west and down into the Pyrenees before a long time trial and the final journey home to Paris. And the rain is coming down again, just as it was when the race last started in Holland in nearby Leiden in 1978, but hopefully it won't be as heavy. Hertogenbosch, known to everybody as the Den Bosch, and the prologue distance slightly over the regulations allowed by the UCI, but they've given dispensation for it today. And wearing the magic number 51, Evgeny Berzin here out on the course. It's a shame the rain has come. It's not quite as heavy as it was when in fact the prologue time trial after it was run was cancelled and didn't count towards the overall classifications back in 1978. This waiting to start, Miguel Indurain in his yellow jersey is 5 times the previous winner. Alex Zülle, second last year, waiting to start in the Brabenhalle. While out on the course is big Lance Armstrong, and his times are good. Evgeny Berzin now, he should set the new standard for them all to beat as he comes up towards the line. Chris Boardman did a tremendous ride of 10.55, and he's gone better than Berzin. 10.56.43. Evgeny Berzin has gone 1 behind Boardman. So the British rider who holds the prologue record at 34.3 kilometres an hour is still in the hot seat. Out on course, a rider who also crashed like Boardman last year in Saint-Brieuc, Alex Zülle. And Zülle will take the risk as we now go back to the finish for the arrival of Tony Rominger. There's Boardman's time. Rominger is well outside of it. He's taken no chances at all. Rominger only 4th at the moment, and there's some big names still to finish. And none bigger than the last man out on the circuit, Miguel Indurain. And I wonder whether he'll take any chances, because approaching the finish now is the rider who's just started in front of him, Alex Zülle. Zülle has taken plenty of risks around these corners. He's been skimming off the tight line through the barriers, and Zülle's time is going to beat Chris Boardman. Boardman is going to be knocked off the leader's pyre with just 2 riders left to come in. Alex Zülle, 10.53.84 is the leader, and here is the face of Big Mig himself, up the gears. Now Miguel's time has not been as good as Zülle through the checkpoints out on the course, and so it's proving now as he approaches the finish. Miguel Indurain is not going to start tomorrow in yellow. He wears the yellow jersey today as last year's winner, 11.05, and only 7th place for Miguel Indurain. That really is a little bit below par for him. There's the result. Boardman losing 2 seconds, Berzin 3rd. What a prologue. Look at the names here. Alano 4th and Tony Rominger 5th. Well, it was a close finish.
To be frank, I'm surprised it was that close. I thought I'd be 3rd, maybe 4th. I was going okay down the straights, but as I said, there's no way I could take the risks on the corners. Very frustrating, but you just have to make the decisions.
And the opening stage will stay here, based in Den Bosch in Holland. But let's now have a look as we remind ourselves of the overall distance of the race and the fact there are 198 starters. Let's have a look and see how we rank the contenders for the 1996 Tour de France. It's top marks in 3 of the 5 categories for Miguel Indurain. Occasionally, though, he has been left wanting in the mountains, and if his team is suspect, as we think it is, it could make him fallible in 1996. Laurent Jalibert's one advantage over Indurain is his immensely strong team. The man who gives the French hope is now the world #1 ranked rider. He's a winner, and he has a great confidence in himself. Tony Rominger equals Indurain in our points table because he has a strong team to back him. The Swiss superstar has also beaten Indurain in both mountains and time trial in recent years. At 35, it could be the last chance for him to claim the Spaniard's scalp. Evgeny Berzin is weak on experience, having retired in this race last year, but he can ride well in the time trials and he can climb. If his team can back him, he could become the first Russian to win the race. Alex Zülle is part of Laurent Jalibert's strong Once team. The Swiss rider's 2nd place overall in Paris last year has left him believing in himself and a great backup to the Frenchman. We give Chris Boardman a low assessment because we feel winning is still beyond him. He's never finished the race. But the 27-year-old still promises so much. To survive the mountains could mean a high placing in Paris for him and make him a favourite for the future.
This year, yes, it is the great unknown, and I'm trying to think of it as a challenge and not a problem. It's a long race, twice as long as anything I've ever done before. So a lot of people keep biting off a little bit more than I can chew out of their enthusiasm for somebody to get behind and support. And that's nice, it's what you call a nice problem to have, but I feel that pressure. But for me, I mean, to take the yellow jersey yesterday would have been great. That would have been a little bit of insurance, but that's gone, and that's life. Because yesterday I had to make the decision, am I here for 3 weeks or am I here for 10 minutes? And I had to make the decision 3 weeks. So if I have one really good day in the mountains where I'm riding with the front group and I come into Paris in the first 20, that for me would be progression. And I wouldn't say I'd be ecstatic with that, but I could be content with that, and it would be something to move on from the future.
And this opening stage is staying based on the city of Den Bosch in the southeast of Holland, and the rider's very worried about the stage because they're always nervous. He's opening first days in the Tour. When riders get used to riding with one another, everybody believes they can win the stage, and not surprisingly in Holland the roads are flat and the riders believe that they have a real chance at striking out and getting a stage win. But the problem is the crashes, and there we have it. Now there was a rider down on the right, and it's the Spanish rider who finished 10th last year, Hernan Buenahora of the Kelme boy. He's in a precarious position there as he gets his bike off the road, but he does look as though he's quite badly injured with that right knee. And somebody else is down as well. Perhaps we can see it better here. The wind keeping the riders pinned to the left-hand side of the road. Buenahora is shot out of the line over to the right. And there's another rider and a little bit of leapfrogging with the bikes over the broken machinery here. Oh, Paneri does a pretty good job at mountain riding. But that is a great shame, and that is about the second or third crash we've had already today. And Buenahora has been announced as having retired from the race with his injuries, and this is Thierry Marie. Now this was a sort of central reservation here in the middle of the median strip. Marie has gone slamming into that sign. Thierry Marie, who has been a great prologue rider over the years in the Tour de France. He's won it 3 times. He's also had one of the longest breakaways ever too to win the stage and get the yellow jersey back, and he's in trouble. There's a little crash up the road, and I think there's somebody over to the right here, and that to me looks like Luc Leblanc, who has gone down on the right of the road here, and the doctor, Gérard Porte, is with Luc Leblanc. Let's have a look down. There's Thierry Marie going into the centre, and at the same time there's a rider gone off to the left because another rider fell, and it seems to be a completely separate incident. Well, this is Luc Leblanc, and it looks like he's going on. Well, hats off to him, because he looked as though he was down and out for the count there, Luc Leblanc. This is the race now as we head up towards the finish, and the riders are still clear of the field. The bunch is actually split in these crosswinds. And little André Schmil is trying to get in on the action. Leon Van Bon is leading it out for the Rabobank. There is Mario Cipollini, the champion of Italy shirt, green top. Also trying to get through is the white jersey of Frédéric Moncassin. This is going to be a very tight finish indeed. Jerome Blijlevens is pushing hard as well. That's Blijlevens for TVM. And I think it is also Zabel who's trying to move over to the right, but he's dropped away from it. Frédéric Moncassin and Blijlevens right on the line, and it's gone to Moncassin. What a start for the Gan team. They get the first stage win of this year's Tour de France. And that was a day for the sprint. In fact, it wasn't Zabel, it was Verade who was up there in third. Blijlevens gets second. Overall, Alex Zula keeps his lead after the prologue win by 3 seconds over Berzin and 7 over Abraham Olano. And back in 1994, Frédéric Moncassin, well, he fell off the presentation podium at the start of the Tour, broke his ankle and was unable to start. This morning, Mario Kuma, a non-starter after a broken collarbone yesterday. Now, at 17 kilometres to go, the riders cross from Belgium into France. Now, in Belgium, it is compulsory to wear a crash helmet when you are racing. But take one step into France, and it then becomes the rider's personal choice. But my advice, after the way Mario Cipollini was sprinting yesterday, is to keep these helmets on. And as the riders head in towards Wasquehal, we've completely traversed Belgium today without stopping, coming through from Holland, and we're just going across to the border town of Wasquehal. And TVM have now got control of the head of the peloton. They couldn't win with Blijlevens, a Dutchman in Holland. Perhaps they'll have better luck as they arrive in France. Frédéric Moncassin heading up towards the yellow jersey with a 6 seconds bonus at the start of the first hotspot sprint today. Now, can he snatch any more at the finishing line as the riders break for the finish? It looks as though a late rush by Vyacheslav Yekimov is going to come to naught as the sprinters all come up behind in the Saika boys trying to organise themselves for Cipollini. But look at this now, Moncassin has got himself in on the action. Mario Cipollini is trying to break away, but he's dropped back a little bit as Moncassin goes again on the left of our picture. And the strong attack too coming from Zabel, Eric Zabel, Mario Cipollini in the centre now. Blyleven's on the right, Cipollini's going to make it. Cipollini, Blyleven's over the line. And the third place, I think, was Jan Zarada in that green points jersey. And as we look down here, what an easy win for Mario Cipollini. So, the self-proclaimed fastest man in the world is back in a big way, and we are only on to stage 2 of the Tour de France, and the celebratory champagne is already being poured. This is the overall standings after 2 stages of racing now. Azula a second ahead of Moncassin. The battle for the bonuses will follow. Berzine is third as we move on now to stage number 3, and taking us down through France into Nogent-sur-Oise. Alex Zula still in the leader's yellow jersey, but beginning to look a little bit fragile now as the challenge is coming from Frédéric Moncassin on these flat stages, chasing out the sprint bonuses. And Baldato is in the action there as well. He gets the first one at Douai after 43 kilometres. Blyleven's and Zverada were the riders who snipped up the 4 seconds and 2 seconds bonus. Now, normally today is the team time trial, but this year it's out of the Tour. And here's Gary Imlach to tell us more.
The look of the team time trial is that of a bunch of futuristic commuters sharing the workload on the way to the office. And at first glance, it's about as dramatic. But it does contribute its share of Tour incident.
Oh, there's been a crash here, and this is a disaster for Ali Austria. They were recording the best time without a shadow of a doubt. They've collided on that left-hand bend, and they've all gone down here. But I think Argentin and Rolf Sorensen have been lucky, and they've missed it. The rest of the team don't know what to do. Well,
although he crashed in 1991, Rolf Sorensen's team had been pulling him along at such a good lick, he still managed to limp onto the podium to take yellow. In 94, it was the other way round. Chris Boardman's blazing individual speed secured the race lead. His team's collective lack of it let it slip. And that's been the criticism of the team time trial, that it has too much say in the individual standings. It certainly didn't do Tony Rominger any favours in 1993. He went into it 18 seconds behind Miguel Indurain and came out of it down by nearly 2 minutes. Being penalised didn't help, neither did having only 4 teammates fit enough to finish. The biggest team time trial loser, though, was Stephen Roach in 1991, who turned up late to find his team had set off without him and ended up being eliminated. Still, he remains a big fan of the team stage, apparently on aesthetic grounds.
I think it's a bit unfortunate, really, for the spectacle of the Tour de France in itself, because I think the Tour de France is a very beautiful event. When you see the riders all in harmony, it's very difficult, but it's a very spectacular event, I think, and it's a pity this year it's not in Tour de France.
So why is it missing this year? Well, it depends who in the Tour organisation you ask.
Je crois qu'il faut pas rester toujours avec les mêmes programmes, les mêmes choses fait au même endroit. Le Tour de France, c'est pour changer, pour innover, pour que les coureurs perdent un petit peu leurs habitudes. Et bien sûr, c'est ça qui fait aussi la beauté de la course.
Je ne prends pas ça pour une innovation, c'est un regret. Car lorsque nous avons préparé le parcours du Tour 96, nous avions prévu un contre-la-montre par équipe au lac de Madine. C'est un très beau parcours. Et puis, vous savez que les règlements de l'UCI nous contraignent de faire le Tour de France dans 23 jours.
And it was the team time trial that had to go. A move that's affected just who gets selected for the race.
Ja, oké, nou moet je misschien meer renners hebben voor de bergen en niet voor de tijdrit. En gewoon 1 renners hebben of 2 in de ploeg voor de tijdrit individueel en niet voor de ploegentijdrit. Maar het is misschien mooi een keer zo'n Tour zonder ploegentijdrit, maar in de volgende jaren zou het weer beter zijn met een ploegentijdrit.
Not that he'd admit it, but the man who stands to gain most from the absence of the team stage is the race's outstanding individual.
If there was a team time trial this year, Indurain would have found himself very, very far behind before the mountains next week, because they honestly have an incredible team for a team time trial, contrary to the Vanessa team of Miguel Indurain.
And the Stephen Roach used to race on the Carrera team. You won't be too happy with the news today that Enrico Zaina, also of Carrera and second in the Giro d'Italia, has retired on the road today towards Nogent. The race are now arriving there. There's been breakaways all day, but they've all been brought back now, and the sprinters once again are going to have their chance. And licking their lips are the Saeco riders after the success yesterday of Mario Cipollini. But the attacks are starting to come that might well spoil the party here. If Frédéric Moncassin can snatch a bonus in the first three, then he should take the leader's yellow jersey away from Alex Zülle. None of the big stars, apart from Jan Zerada, have been snatching points at the interim sprints along the road today, because the breakaway midway through swept up all of the bonus times that really mattered. And now there he is, three men back from the Saeco boys in the green top to his jersey, little Andre Schmiel. Moncassin is also pushing in. He's got the right wheel there behind Mario Cipollini in the white Moncassin. Now the riders are supposed to swing off when you lead out a man, not just free wheel. The Saeco boy almost stopped the race there as he didn't move away from the front. But I'm not too sure whether Cipollini's come too late here. His team have run out of steam as Eric Zabel goes on the left of our picture, and I think they've not given Cipollini a good lead out at all here. Zabel is digging deep. Jan Zerada is coming. He looks as though he's sold at the moment. Blijlevens is out of it. Moncassin might just have got third place there, and if he did, let's have a look at this. He will be in yellow tonight. Eric Zabel gets an early stage win. He got two last year. This time it's an early win for him. Cipollini was gaining on him, but not quick enough, and indeed Frédéric Moncassin did get third place, Zerada fourth. Look at those sprinters all lined up there. But this one was the fastest of the day, Eric Zabel of Germany and the Telecom team. And he's going to be a favourite now for that green points jersey. Overall, though, Frédéric Moncassin is the new leader of the Tour, the bonus giving him a 7 seconds advantage and 10 over Evgeny Berzin. There he is. What a dream start for Frédéric Moncassin. First of all, the stage win, and now the maillot jaune. As we move on to stage number 4, we move away from Soissons, heading to the Lac de Madine. No real hills on the contour, and this man won't care anyway, because these are the nice moments of the Tour de France for Frédéric Moncassin, and I think he might require that yellow jersey back for today's stage. Leaving under clear blue skies, here's the champion of France, having won his title just before the start of the Tour, Stéphane Herlaut. Also had a great ride, 4th place in the recent Dauphiné Libéré. And a former champion of France there, Serge Boucherie, telling Stéphane if he keeps this up, he's going to be the new leader of the Tour, and I don't think Moncassin will mind because Herlaut also on the same Gan team. Little bit of hard work being done here by Indurain. No, not Miguel, but brother Prudencio is riding extremely well this year. And this is Herminio Diaz-Zabala. Now these are trying to get some inroad into this leading breakaway, which contains Danny Nelson, number 86 here, Stéphane Herlaut, champion of France at the front, Cyril Sogran at the back in yellow, Rolf Yerman of the MG team, he's second from the end in our picture, and Mariano Piccoli, king of the mountains in the Tour of Italy. These are the riders who are in the escape that has got clear and has gained a lot of time. Now you can't let a rider like Herlaut go too far because he is a climber, as he showed us in the Dauphiné Libéré, and the field are trying to chase down and reduce that big gap. At the 1 kilometre banner, there's no way now they're going to get up onto the situation here. They're going to come in quite a few minutes down anyway. But this is a marvellous piece of riding, and Herlaut starting the day the best place of the team by a long way, just 43 seconds off the maillot jaune of his teammate Frédéric Moncassin. So Herlaut knows already he's going to be the new yellow jersey, the first time in his career, as it is newcomer Cyril Sogran of the Aubervilliers team who leads out. I tell you what, if he gets this one, this is going to vindicate the organisation for allowing this young French team into the event, and I'm quite sure there'll be a big smile on the face of Jean-Marie Leblanc, and it looks as though Cyril Sogran's going to have the greatest moment of his life. Nelson, I'm not surprised and annoyed, the amateur world champion, will take only second place. Cyril Sogran gets the stage win. What a surprising Tour this is already turning out to be. He could never have possibly have dreamt of this happening to him. The breakaway has worked, and he has been proven to have the best sprint. There's the clock counting down the time gap. The arrival of the maillot jaune, now passing across to his teammate Herlaut. The green jersey also of Jan Zerada. Zerada's gone down. He clipped the back wheel. The two riders from Gan looked over. Bjorn Ries is on the barriers there. He was lucky to miss it. You can see the champion of Denmark far left, as it just a touch of wheels there, and it looked to be totally the fault of Jan Zerada. That's Paulo Laurent Brochard who's gone skydiving over the top of Zerada, and the grit of the teeth of the Danish champion Ries. He was lucky to stay upright. Thank heavens for the barriers, which is more than you could say for Abdou-Japarov a few years ago when he hit them at the finish of a stage in Paris. And so there's the result. Sirio Sogran getting the victory over Nelson. The main field coming in almost 5 minutes back. And you maillot jaune, yet again, now it's on the shoulders of Stéphane Herlo by 22 seconds over Piccoli. The men of that breakaway taking the top 5 places overall. This is where the rest are standing right now. As we move on to stage number 5, heading on now to Besançon. What a dream start for the Gan team, have had so much success. And Stéphane Herlo, the first Breton, that's the northern part of France, to wear the maillot jaune since 1992, when it was worn by Pascal Lino. Well, among the non-starters this morning, Mario Cipollini, the champion of Italy, has chosen not to start. He says he's feeling unwell. There are others who are saying he's going away to prepare especially for the Olympic Games in Atlanta. Southwesterly winds and cloudy today and rather chilly 18 degrees Celsius. And the whole field compact as they roll away. No real challenges on the road today, a couple of small hills, and there's a crash down there, and look at the way the peloton has spread round in a big circle, crossing a narrow bridge, and this is another bit of confusion. Riders falling, as there have been daily in this race, taking out 1 or 2 of the stars as well. And in fact, it looks as though Lance Armstrong is unhappy with Gilles Bouvard and Lotto. I'll tell you what, disqualification is imminent. That's the first offence for fighting if the referees decide to apply it. And Bouvard of Lotto apparently blamed by Lance there for the crash. This is Fagnini, who I think has got himself a damaged collarbone there and may well be out of the Tour, but the race goes on and the cloudy conditions have given way to sunshine as we approach the finish, heading up towards Besançon. And the Telecom boys now feeling they have a chance to get a few more points in the hat for Eric Zabel, because among the riders who have abandoned since that crash, Jan Zerada, who really didn't recover from that fall yesterday, has not finished the stage. He is gone wearing the green jersey for Paneria. And so that now means that Zabel has a real chance of pulling on the green jersey, but not before there's an attack. It looked like Leon van Bon who went, and he's an opportunist who won a stage this year with a similar move near the finish. But that's not Van Bon, that's Ekimov. Ekimov, another opportunist who likes to fly in the last couple of kilometres, as he used to do when he was a Soviet Union rider on the track. Broke world record after world record alone against the watch, and he still has a fine turn of speed in those legs, but not to hold off the whole of the Tour de France today. As the riders come together, even Bjarne Riis is getting in on the action here, a non-sprinter as he's trying to find a way through for Eric Zabel, the champion of Denmark for the 2nd year in succession, and Fredrik Monkesson has taken off his wheel. There he goes. Monkesson in the green jersey. More points for him, perhaps. Jerome Vlijlevens is coming on the left. This is going to be very close. He makes it look easy. He won at Dunkirk last year. Vlijlevens has now got his victory here in Besançon. And there is the confirmation. Monkesson, Zabel, Traversoni, Abdou-Japarov and Ferragato in that order over the line. So, a great result. Let's join Paul Sherwin at the finish.
That was a very well judged sprint at the end. It looked as if Monkesson was going to get it to begin with.
Yeah, today I took the good wheel. The first day I had the bad wheels and I had not so luck. But today I had a lot of luck and I won.
You need both as a sprinter, but this rider wasn't too worried about the result of the sprint. Stéphane Herlo keeping his overall yellow jersey by that same 20 seconds, and that breakaway still surviving in the top 5 places. Alex Zülle, birthday today. He wallows 4 minutes 5 seconds off yellow. The happy days when he started in yellow in his first Tour de France, they've gone now. Heading on from Arc-et-Senans down to Aix-les-Bains, 128.6 miles today, and it'll be the 20th time we'll have arrived at Aix-les-Bains. People like Eddie Merckx and Greg LeMond have won here, and also Dmitry Konishev, who won in 1991. But returning to this year's Tour de France, here's a sad sight as we now see Lance Armstrong in heavy, heavy rain. He has complained of a sore throat, and it looks as though he's decided to call it quits. Well, this is amazing, but the Tour de France, which only started today on the stage 6 with 181 riders, has now lost Alexander Gonchenkov. He was a non-starter this morning. We're now seeing the goodbye here of Lance Armstrong. And that is very, very sad indeed, not just for Armstrong, but also for Motorola, because they are now something of a headless team without their team captain. They have riders individually for stage wins, but they don't have anybody really for a high overall finish, except perhaps Laurent Madouas. And we don't need the race conditions, do we? Just look at them. Torrential rain and floodwater reported on the roads as the riders get down to the finish at Aix-les-Bains. They are all more or less huddled together, and hardly for comfort. Warnings again of obstacles in the centre of the road. This time it's the Hendaye team sending the signals. A matter of self-survival here by the professionals of the Tour de France. A race which has been battered by the crashes every day. And now we have an attack here, and again it comes from the Rabobank. And it's Michael Bogart. Well, you have to be Dutch, I think, to break away in these conditions and take all the risks because they are such good bike handlers. And Bogart has ridden away from the peloton here simply by braking that little bit later on these very, very dangerous corners. And I wonder if he's going to hang on because they're coming at him in a big rush here. It's going to be a tight finish. Zabel is trying to catch him, but it's all too late. Zabel will have to be content with second this time as Michael Bogart takes his very first stage win in a Tour de France, and even in these conditions can he afford to smile. So the result, Bogart getting it for Rabobank, Zabel second, Jalabert coming in the frame for the first time this year. He is in third place, so last year's green jersey may be a challenger yet. Happy birthday to Alex Zülle, he's 28, he climbs up to third overall. We're now on day 8. The overall race leader this morning as the riders set out from Chambéry is the Frenchman Stéphane Herlot. But the big names today will try to challenge because we're now in the Alps. The riders come up the climb of the Col de la Madeleine, the first all-category climb of the Tour. That means it's a major mountain. But you know, the weather has been the talking point. Yesterday they finished in torrential rain. Today they say the temperatures will plummet to just 5 degrees Celsius. And there could even be snow on the top of the Col de la Madeleine. Without more ado, let's get to the action. And just a reminder, yes, it's supposed to be summer in France in the month of July. Just a shaving under 200 kilometres, 124 miles, the race today. This is a reminder of the overall situation, a 20-second gap to Piccoli, having a good Tour de France, as he did Tour of Italy. Alex Zülle, the big challenger, in third, and the return of Laurent Jalabert now, he is up to fourth. Further down the list, Abraham Olano, the world champion on the road race, he's in sixth place. And this is the situation as the riders come over the top of the Col de la Madeleine. Well, there is no snow, but there is very, very poor visibility, and all the way up the climb, the yellow jersey has been in trouble. He's gone over the top, 1 minute and 11 seconds down, Stéphane Herlot. As the riders here, this is another group over 4.5 minutes down. This first day in the mountains has done an awful lot of damage. Now look at these conditions here. There's moisture on our camera lens as well. We can't do anything about that. Valentino Foix, what a lucky man he is. He's gone off the road on the descent and he's chosen a stretch of the mountain where it doesn't go downhill too quickly. He looks okay as he comes back up to the roadside. As we go back up to the leaders here, and it's the big Mig himself now. He hates weather like this. You can see him well wrapped up. He's got warm gloves on there. And Miguel Indurain will be feeling reasonably happy with the way things are going. He's got control of the front of the pace. If you don't like the day, you don't like the climbs, then try and get to the front and ride them at your pace and keep everybody behind you. That's his attitude. On his shoulder is Alex Zülle. Number 181 here, the Kelme rider, is Fernando Escartin. And number 14 is Aitor Garmendia. A very select little group. Abraham Olano, the world champion, far right of our picture. And the new champion of Spain, Fernandez Gines, is sitting at the back of this very, very select group. Gone is the Maillot Jaune and still lingering behind the race, and he's certainly out of the hunt now. We really did expect Stéphane Herlot today to be up with a group of this size because he certainly is an above average climber, and I think he has a problem with his right knee, which he has been complaining about. A sad sight for Great Britain because Chris Boardman has also been dropped off the back on the climb of the Col de la Madeleine. He too is quite a way down and learning perhaps the realities of the Tour de France because Chris is yet to finish the Tour. He may hold the record for the fastest prologue ever, but he also holds the other record for the fastest exit ever, which he did last year in the prologue when he crashed after about a mile. Brave souls have come up onto the climb of the Cormet de Roseland, which has come after 163 kilometres. An attack there by Bjarne Riis, champion of Denmark, but not so at the back of the race, because I think there is the odd tear in the eyes there of Stéphane Herlot. 3 days in the Maillot Jaune in his first Tour de France, and the way he's riding there, I think it's all over for him. Well, they brought back Bjorn Ries. Ries had a meeting in November with his team and promised them he could win the Tour. The majority of the meeting have laughed so far, but you know, he does look to have good form. If they believe in Ries and give him the support, who knows? Laurent Dufaux. And Dufaux, in fact, a minute 15 behind the leader on the road, Bolt. But look at this man, he was the leader of the Tour de France. He has signalled to his team car, it's all over. Well, I think by my reckoning, he is only the 12th man to leave the Tour de France wearing the Maillot Jaune. And Stéphane Herlaut, he does have a problem. I think it's tendonitis in his right knee. He is out of the Tour, and that is very, very sad. We're back up at the front now, and Dufaux has in fact joined, not joined, but passed Udo Bolt, the attacking rider, who went clear on the climb of the Cormet de Roselend. He has now been caught and dropped as we've gone over the top of the Bourg of the Prime at Bourg-Saint-Maurice. And now Laurent Dufaux is going to make a bid as we join the rather narrow roads here on the descents that are bound, but at least the sun has come out. There's some very, very difficult descents on the Cormet de Roselend. Oh my goodness me! And that is a rider from Rabobank who has gone clean off into this ravine here on the descent of the Cormet de Roselend. And in fact, it is Johan Bruneel who has gone down, but he looks perfectly okay. What a shock. And in fact, can you believe this? This man is just looking for another bike. I doubt whether they'll get the other one back. And there it is, Johan Bruneel, who's having a great ride. He was with the main chase group on the mountain. Straight back into the fray and hardly a look backwards. Absolutely amazing. This is Laurent Dufaux, the leader on the road now of the Tour de France. The sun is out. Perhaps this will help Miguel Indurain. He's a little bit like a lizard. He needs plenty of sun to warm up for the action. Tony Rominger right behind him. The far side of him there was Alex Zula. And now the message coming to Laurent Dufaux. He has a real chance here on the climb up towards Les Arcs. First ever time the Tour has finished at Les Arcs, which always surprises me. We're in the parallel valley to Val Thorens, where we've been before. As the attacks are now trying to come away from the main field here. But you know, the leaders have got themselves together today. They've just tested one another out, but they've kept themselves basically together. That's Luc Leblanc, who seems to be moving up for an attack. He's gone straight up to the front, and Luc Leblanc going clear. This little man, a very ungainly style on a bike, but he is a very star climber indeed. Won the stage of the Tour at Hautacam back in 1994. Most consistent Tour de France rider. Has only worn the yellow jersey for one occasion only. He did it back in 1991. But he finished fourth in 94. Now he's back, having missed last year when the Groupement disbanded the team. He's gone straight by Laurent Dufaux, and there was no fight left in Dufaux. I think he really did hit the wall. He didn't look too good when he was chatting there with his team manager. And the pace, no real reaction here. No suicide runs on this first day in the Alps. Indurain looking good at the front. Spanish flag, or rather the Belgian flag there, being shown to a Swiss rider, and a counter-attack here. Now here's a man that everybody already is beginning to talk about, and this is the rider from the Carrera squad, Luttenberger. First Tour de France for him. I saw him race in South Africa as an amateur. He's a superb climber. He's gone straight up to the side of Richard Virenque. Rather, Richard Virenque has come up behind Luttenberger, and because he doesn't want him to get too much of a lead, Leblanc is the man on the attack, and we often see that whenever a Frenchman attacks, Virenque is likely to follow. He likes to be the #1 Frenchman. He's been the winner of the King of the Mountains for the last 2 years. And by the way, the King of the Mountains today has been well dropped at Leon Van Bon. As Luc Leblanc heads up towards the finish at Les Arcs, ironically now in the sun. What a day this has turned out to be. The King of the Mountains has been dropped. We have seen the yellow jersey abandoned. We've known of one bad crash to Johan Bruneel, who has climbed back on his bike. And now we're heading up towards the finish here, and the race is beginning to fragment. Alex Zula, now 28 years of age, as we head up towards the 32nd birthday of Miguel Indurain, and that's Zula and Indurain. Indurain has been dropped here, This is not the going forward part of the group, this is the going backward part of the group. Miguel Indurain has been passed by Alex Zula. Indurain is in trouble, and that is something we have never seen during the last 5 tours. Miguel Indurain is in trouble here. He's being tailed off by Zula. There are plenty of riders ahead, and in fact, he has called for a drink. Now, it's not allowed to accept a drink at this stage of the race under the race regulations. If he takes anything, he will be fined. He'll get a small time penalty. I think the first offence is 10 seconds. And in fact, the drink offered there it wasn't from his team car. He took one look at it and threw it away. So maybe the referees will turn a blind eye on that. As we go up to the leader, the man here who is setting the pace, he will not know the drama that's going on behind him. We have actually seen Miguel Indurain crack on a mountain stage. Maybe the weather really did get to him, but Luc Leblanc is stamping on those pedals and heading up towards the finish now at Les Arcs. And he's going to win the stage just like he did at Hautacam. This is going to be a great return for Luc Leblanc, and he would have been so high up the overall classification, but for that first day crash when we saw him lying on the right-hand side of the road. It really did look on that first day that his Tour de France was over. It's turned right around now. Luc Leblanc comes to the line and takes the great victory at Les Arcs. And he comes up, punches the sky. So Leblanc is back. He's gaining time too on an awful lot of riders. As the second man up the climb now. As he punches the pedals. In fact, Dufault was hanging on there. He's only just been caught inside the line. Tony Rominger is the rider who's gone through. And Richard Virenque is up behind his teammate Laurent Dufault, but it's going to be another surprise. Tony Rominger is going to get second place, around about 45 seconds behind Luc Leblanc. Rominger gets second, and that will give him a good morale for the rest of the race, getting second in the mountains first day out. Luttenberger gets the third slice. Virenque is fourth. Dufault hung on for fifth, and Abraham Olano gets sixth. But here's the story of the day. They've all crossed the line on top of the mountain, including now the pink jersey of Alex Zula. While behind we have Miguel Indurain in all sorts of... Look at the clock. 3.5 minutes to Zula, and it's still counting to Miguel Indurain. You know, this man could have lost the Tour de France on this one bad day in the Alps. He's clearly hit the wall. He's been unhappy with the weather. The weather has been atrocious, but it's come good here at Les Arcs. Maybe he's finished up with too many clothes on. He's hyperventilated, but whatever the reason, Miguel Indurain today appears human, and he's never done that for the past 6 years of the Tour de France. 5 times a winner since 1991. He is going to cross the line over 4 minutes behind the winner. He has conceded an awful lot today. Miguel Indurain, his 6th Tour de France, you've got to say it, is now in serious doubt, and I'm not surprised that Luc Leblanc is ecstatic. So Leblanc, no yellow jersey yet for him, but look at this, Laurent Jalabert even further behind than Miguel Indurain, and not looking at all well. And the arrival too of Chris Boardman, he's also finished off the back, and what on earth has happened?
And then I just completely blew for no apparent reason. I've been eating plenty, weight's been stable. I just completely blew, and you can see it in pulse, 150 maximum I was riding at instead of 170 or 180. And when that happens, then it's just finished. So I really crawled up the second climb with Prudencio Indurain, but the wrong one. And the last climb we just rode up. I mean, it's, you know, half an hour, 35 minutes. It's neither here nor there. When it's finished, it's finished.
I mean, you said you blew. How bad did you feel?
Well, how far was it down?
At the end? 20 odd minutes, but I mean, Indurain lost 4, Jalabert lost 18. Oh, yeah. It's obviously been a hard day for a lot of people.
Yeah. To be honest, if it's 20 odd minutes, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. It's only that, you know, the way we were riding for the final. So it's, you know, it's not finished. I said I'm going to Paris, and it's going to take more than today to stop me. It was an incredibly hard day, and so many friends on the route today, especially the last climb. And when you're going well, there's nothing better than having friends there. It makes it a real euphoric experience. When you're going bad, there's nothing worse.
Did you recover towards the end of the stage? Because when you came in, you seemed fine.
That's because we didn't do the last climb flat out. We rode it real steady the last climb.
because it's a bit of a cliche. It's a race of 3 weeks, and today's one day. So if I was finished today, as I say, I lose half an hour, lose 35 minutes. It's right here, neither here nor there.
And no thoughts of your future in the Tour?
Well, I'll have a good look at the classement tonight. Have a good think about tomorrow. I'll speak with the boss. I'm really disappointed. I can't think of a worse day on a bike than I've had today. But I'll just have to get over it.
As I'm sure Chris Boardman will, but the Tour de France really is a tough event. That is the stage result, and what a sensational day. Rominger getting second, Lutenberger third, but the big news, of course, the demise of Miguel Indurain, as Luc Leblanc here waves to the crowd. Overall, Olano in a similar situation to he was in the Giro, tied on time here with another Russian, this time Evgeny Berzin. And it is Berzin now who's fulfilling his promise and looks like becoming a real threat in this year's Tour de France as he gets his first maillot jaune and pulls it on. I'm not surprised it's long sleeves either. It's still very chilly on the Tour de France. And the King of the Mountains, a traditional wearer of the jersey, this, Richard Virenque, who's now in the hot seat again. But there was no hiding, you know, for Miguel Indurain as Gary Imlach went in search of him on the eve of the time trial, which would take us to Val d'Isère. 159 riders at the start, 39 have now abandoned, and the man in trouble, well, there's no doubt who that was, Miguel Indurain. Imlach went to his hotel, and he found it was the same hotel as many of the top names.
It wasn't the best piece of advanced booking as far as Banesto were concerned, especially as all the teams were lumped together in one dining room. But as first Berzin and then Rominger turned up to take their places at the table, there was no sign of the man whose place they were trying to take in the race. And after a couple of false alarms turned out to be brother Prudencio and second-placed Abraham Olano, it became clear that Mig had opted for room service, probably delivered intravenously. Rominger, though, at least, was taking no pleasure in the great man's fallibility.
Oh, look, I'm not a big favourite for the Tour de France. It's still other guys who can win the Tour de France. You know, you saw today in 3 kilometers you can lose 3 minutes. That can also happen to me.
Finally, Mig materialised to face the press conference mics and admitted that the weather was giving him problems. Afterwards, though, he played down to us the extent of his suffering on the stage.
No, la etapa ha ido bien. Durante toda la etapa ha ido bien y tenía intención hasta de atacar al final, pero eso me ha venido de repente y es sufrir, ¿no? Porque no tenía fuerzas para poder sufrir mucho, sino intentar coger el ritmo y llegar hasta arriba, hasta meta.
How much of his strength he's regained we'll obviously find out today. But although Indurain may have made the Tour less of a foregone conclusion on the evidence of last night, he's determined that when it comes, the conclusion itself will be the usual one.
And Gary Imlach may well be right, because few people believe they've seen the last of Miguel Indurain, not with his reputation. Here he is on the start line at Bourg-Saint-Maurice. He now lies 14th at 3 minutes 32 seconds behind the new leader, Evgeny Berzin of Russia. Chris Boardman is setting the trend. He's just caught Emilio Diaz-Zabala, and he is now the fastest rider at the 24 kilometres check. But of course, there are the other leaders of the Tour still to make their start. The arrival now of Chris Boardman, and this will be the best time thus far as Boardman crosses the line. His time of 54 minutes and 23 seconds, so the great British time trialist is living up to his reputation yet again. And out on the course, now let's have a look. There are 13 riders behind Indurain, but he's got the best time, 6 seconds better than Chris Boardman. But Boardman's at the finish, and you know he should be pleased with his ride.
Yeah, I wanted to give it a good go so I could see where I stand against the others. I rode very consistent right the way through. Not my better, but not the best I can be, but I was happy that it was constant all the way through, and I had a good sprint at the end there. So if I'm in the top 5, I'll be relatively happy after yesterday.
Well, back out on the road here, Bjarne Riis of Denmark, who is a rider who has had in the past very high finishes. 5th in 1993, the first real time we heard of him. And again, the champion of Denmark. He's doing good checkpoint times, but so too is this man, Miguel Indurain. Riis is behind Indurain. Indurain is now the new marker, and I never thought I'd say that. He's usually the man that sets the mark that nobody will beat, but because of his early start today, he will have to wait and find out if others are going as well. Look at this now. Indurain is 36 seconds quicker than the marks being set or have been set by Chris Boardman. Tony Rominger lower down the slopes. The actual climb of Val d'Isère doesn't start early on. The roads drag a little bit and then it goes up. Intermediate time at 9.3 kilometres. Jan Ullrich is beginning to throw a spanner in the works here. Gone through 7 seconds quicker than Miguel Indurain. Ullrich in his first tour. He's only a youngster on the Telecom team, and that is a big surprise. Well, here comes Alex Zula, and already he's slower than Miguel Indurain and approaching the time of Boardman. He slots in second place behind Big Mig at the 15.7 kilometre check. So perhaps Indurain has recovered overnight. He said his tour wasn't over at his press conference. Laurent Jalabert, though, well, maybe his tour is. Look at these times for Jalabert. If he really did have thoughts on a yellow jersey in Paris, they're fading fast now. Only 14th, 57 minutes and 49 seconds at the finish for Jalabert. Out on the course, they're all through the first check. Berzin, the leader, has got the best time. That's what he would want. 16 seconds to Ullrich and Olano, 18 seconds in third. Rominger is fourth. That's at the check at 9.3 kilometres. That's the easy bit of the course. Tony Rominger there. Now back towards the finish here as Miguel Indurain is faced a picture of pain, trying to prove to himself above all that he is coming back into the frame. He's going to be fastest when he reaches the line. He has made good time over Boardman over this serious part of the climb. Into Val d'Isère, best time for Indurain, a 52.54, almost 1.5 minutes quicker than Boardman. Sweeping up, out on the course, Evgeny Berzin, the man in yellow. Look at the crowd here. It has been freezing cold standing on the slopes of this mountain today, yet all of these people have waited to catch a glimpse of the new maillot jaune of the Tour. Evgeny Berzin, just 30.5 kilometres, but what a painful run it is. Jan Ullrich now, 25 seconds off the lead. And this is a rider who is turning in one of the big surprises of the Tour. He has stayed well to the line. He is just going to be slower than Indurain. His time as he comes up to the line, now arriving Luttenberger, who's already come in. He's got second. Ullrich is now second. Indurain is still the leader. Ullrich down by only 6 seconds on Miguel Indurain. Bjarne Riis. Well, Riis might have a problem on his hands and he may not realise it, coming from his own teammate Jan Ullrich, who has turned in such a great time trial. Now what about Riis? He's also approaching the time of Indurain. This looks like it might be a great start for Riis. He is going to take a lot of encouragement from the fact that Indurain dropped yesterday, and now Bjarne Riis is in. His time is 52.28. He is 26 seconds better than Miguel Indurain. So Bjarne Riis is a serious Tour contender this year. There's no doubt about that now. Tony Rominger, who needs a good ride today, but it doesn't look as though it's coming. 52 seconds off the pace at 24 kilometres. Rominger, who went to the United States in the Tour du Pont, where he trained specifically for the Tour de France. He has concentrated on this race this year, and I'm not so sure that the legs are performing quite as he wanted them to. Indurain now down to second behind Riis as Rominger comes up to the line. He is going to be very close to the time of Indurain as the line approaches. He will finish in 52.54 for Rominger. And I make that the same time as Miguel Indurain, but it'll be split by fractions of a second. The world champion, second in the World Championship time trial behind Indurain. Olano again is running close to the man who beat him to the rainbow jersey in Colombia. And Indurain's time 52.54. Olano will beat him this time 52.38 by just 10 seconds. Now, Evgeny Berzin, the only man left to finish here. Is he going to take it out with the best possible answer? The maillot jaune winning at the time trial stage of the Tour de France. And that will take him on into the mountains tomorrow. The first really big, hard climbs of this Tour. They're all waiting literally over the hill here. As Berzin comes to the line, it's going to be the best time, and it's going to be a great time for Evgeny Berzin. He pushes the time of Bjarne Riis. He is going to be the only man inside. 52 minutes, he does it. 51.53, 35 seconds better than Bjarne Riis of Denmark. And we look down on the beautiful ski station of Val d'Isère. Well, it's normally beautiful anyway, but we're still waiting for the sun. Let's have a look at this result. Evgeny Berzin of Russia and Gaywiz gets the win ahead of Bjarne Riis of Denmark. Abraham Olano is third. Miguel Indurain, is he on the way back? Same time as Rominger, finishing fifth. Overall, the leader of the Tour increases his overall lead to 43 seconds over Bjarne Riis. What a day. Well, the weather has closed in, the rain coming, thank heavens, after the race had finished. But over my shoulder is the giant climb of the Col de l'Iseron. That's the way for the Tour de France tomorrow, into the finish of Sestriere in Italy. The forecast is not good. This is turning out to be an amazing Tour de France. Well, this is what the Tour de France used to be like in the good old days. The riders enjoying hot sunshine, the crowds enjoying their day out and watching a great free spectacle. But not today, because all of the fears have been realised. The Col de Galibier is being swept by what the French are describing as a veritable tempest, with winds blowing up to 70 miles an hour. The riders cannot possibly cross over the mountain. In fact, I've spoken to one or two club cyclists who did try to come up here, and literally they've been suffering for hypothermia on the descent. Richard Virenque heading to sign on, knowing he's going to sign on and step into a motor car because the decision has been taken to cancel the Col de Galibier and the Col de l'Iseron, and instead the riders taken to the other side of the Alps, to the town of Le Monêtier-les-Bains, where the race stage will now only be 46 kilometres, and it's going to last about 1 hour and 10 minutes. But you know, when you have short stages, you often have difficult ones. At Sestriere, let's remind ourselves of 1952. Fausto Coppi having a great tour this year. He also won at Alpe d'Huez, which is not too far away, also in the Alps, but they're in the French Alps, Sestriere in the Italian Alps. And just a couple of years ago, in 1992, this was the arrival of the great Claudio Chiappucci after a fantastic escape over the mountains, watched throughout the day on television. But as we join the action now, we are on the climb of Mont Ginevra, a second category climb coming straight after the start. I'm sorry about the quality of the pictures, but our helicopters have actually had difficulty in getting round the Alps to bring us any pictures at all because of the poor weather conditions. But the attack on the climb of Mont Ginevra has come from Bjarne Riis of Denmark. And as I said earlier, 46 kilometres is not a long way, but you know, when it's a short distance, it's a matter of pure strength. And Bjarne Riis has decided to go for gold right from the gun today. And what is happening here is that nobody is willing to help the yellow jersey of Evgeny Berzin. Abraham Olano is just behind him and not assisting in the pace at all. Richard Virenque, Escartine. Miguel Indurain is up in the move again, which is nice to see. 10 kilometres to the summit now. We've moved on to the lower slopes of Sestriere, and still we're waiting to see anybody take up the race here and help Berzin. He's finding the pressures of having a yellow jersey on his shoulder now rather hard. Well, Bjarne Riis started the day 43 seconds away from yellow. The last time check we got, his lead was up to 50 seconds. If he continues this progress, there's no time bonuses now at the finishing line. It means he would indeed be the yellow jersey. I think, you know, Berzin sat up there as if he to say, I've had enough of this. You either help me or we'll all lose the race. And I think that's the answer, because he's got back in the saddle. I thought he was blowing up, but he's got back in and fallen in behind Abraham Olano. But the speed here now of Bjarne Riis being driven on by the thought he could be in yellow. That would be a great triumph for the Danish champion as well. He's under the 5 kilometres banner now. So Riis is a rider who knows he's on a mission. He promised his team he would do his best to win the Tour de France if they gave him a 100% commitment. They did, and now it's down to him. 49 seconds the gap. So it's holding. At the moment, he's in yellow by 6 seconds. Evgeny Berzin hasn't lost it yet, because normally one goes quicker towards the finish. They're under the 5 kilometre banner. Olano now having to help Berzin because he's realised the danger of the great escape here by the Danish rider. Riis, who came to his first Tour de France in 1989. We didn't really notice him. He finished 95th overall. He never finished the Tour in 1990, and he was 107th in 1991, and then his whole career changed direction. He missed the Tour in 92. When he came back in 1993, he won a stage. He was briefly the King of the Mountains leader, and he also finished 5th overall. And right now he's in search of a yellow jersey yet again. He's worn it once before in 1995. Well, this is a defiant ride by Ries. Once that stage took out the two big mountains, because you know on the eve of this stage, riders like Richard Virenque were saying to everybody the Tour de France would be decided today over the two big mountains of the Tour. But they didn't know the snow would say otherwise. And this is my 24th Tour de France, and I have never seen snow falling on the cols in any of those 24 years. And Berzin feeling the pressures of the day. The maillot jaune, everybody wants it, and when you've got it, everybody can't keep it. Berzin having to set the tempo. Olano has gone back into 2nd place. Luttenberger, by the way, and there, I've just spoken of him, there he is, he's putting an attack. Luttenberger, the climber from Austria. The Austrians are expecting something special about this young man. He's a very talented mountain climber. He's now pushing on as he breaks away here. Just won the Tour of Switzerland. But oddly enough, riders who do ride well in the Tour of Switzerland very rarely have a great Tour de France. Perhaps it's the proximity of the two races. Luttenberger, however, now testing the King of the Mountains leader, Richard Virenque, who looks pretty cool at the minute. Udo Bolz is in this lead group as well. So too the strong newcomer, Jan Ullrich. Telecom have one man in the lead and two men here. They are doing themselves plenty of favours for the team race as well. Olano in a spot of bother, and I don't see the yellow jersey either. Olano has gone off to our right, and I think, you know, the Berzin has gone off as well. Escartine is 181. Rominger is hanging on grimly to the back of this group, which is being stirred up by Miguel Indurain, no other. Indurain at the front, Luttenberger back in the pack. The gap is enough now to give Bjarne Riis the yellow jersey. Indurain trying to take control of affairs again, 2 days after he hit the wall at Les Arcs. Well, we've come round the snow today, and Indurain hasn't got anything like the clothing on he had on his climb to Les Arcs. No gloves either, and perhaps he's feeling that little bit better. Everybody had to feel sorry for Indurain at Les Arcs. Nobody likes to see a champion struggle. Nobody had seen him really suffer previously. Further up the climb, Bjarne Riis, the next candidate for the hot seat. He heads up under 2 kilometres to go. His legs protected just to keep the chill off those leg muscles. The riders always worry about the likelihood of tendonitis in the kneecaps. Indurain, Luttenberger, but you know, yellow has gone. He's not in this group at all. We didn't see him go, but he's gone. So Evgeny Berzin falling away from perhaps the top 2 or 3 places overall here. Luc Leblanc also trying to put in a little bit of a special ride on this climb and recover a bit. He's just gone clear of the group, in fact. Leblanc is 2nd man on the slopes now as we head up into the town of Sestriere. We're in Italy, don't forget, but it's not an Italian. There's only ever been Italian winners of the Tour de France here. Fausto Coppi, Claudio Chiappucci. Now they're going to see the champion of Denmark, because Bjarne Riis is under 1 kilometre to go. It's the time that will matter. Although, frankly, I think he's got all the time he needs now, because the yellow jersey has been dropped off the back of the chase group. Luc Leblanc is closing in pretty rapidly. Whether he'll get on, it's debatable. What a courageous rider Luc Leblanc is. The French love him for it. He never lets anybody have a peaceful ride. If he's got half a chance, he'll go for it. And Indurain has been left to do all of the pacemaking over these last few kilometres, and that's why a rider like Leblanc has found the strength to jump around him and get clear. Rominger behind Indurain. He reminds me a lot of Joop Zoetemelk, Tony Rominger. Tends to follow wheels rather than put in decisive attacks. 3rd place is Richard Virenque. Jan Ullrich. This rider's never seen the Tour de France, only on television, and look at him now. The Bolts in a spot of bother, tagged onto the back, as is Escartine. Ullrich has gone too. They're almost onto Luc Leblanc, but here's the man who's won the day. He's led since the lower slopes of Mont Genèvre. A climb which, by the way, was used in the Giro d'Italia this year as well. And now the Dane Bjarne Riis comes to the line for the stage victory. And Bjarne Riis, last winner stage of the Tour de France at Albi in 1994, at Chalon-sur-Marne in 93, and now Sestriere in 96. Watch the clock. Luc Leblanc will get second place. And Leblanc, well, will he get second place? Because, in fact, Richard Virenque is closing in very quickly on him. Leblanc is just about flat out for the line. Yes, he will. Leblanc gets second place. The time saying he's 24 seconds down, about 26 seconds back to Virenque. And then comes Rominger, just pipping Indurain to the line, and then the rest are following. Udo Bolts being challenged by Frédéric Escartine. We are still waiting for the arrival of the Maillot Jaune. And looking down the road there, it is not in sight. Oh, here he comes. Almost a minute has gone by as the Maillot Jaune of Evgeny Berzin comes into sight. And Bjarne Riis can now wash his face and get ready for his yellow jersey, because the Russian rider has lost it today to Bjarne Riis of Denmark. He's losing time, but maybe not enough time to cost him second place overall. As he comes up to the line, he is going to finish. Look at the time for the stage, 1 hour, 10 minutes. As Luc Leblanc gets second overall, Riis, Virenque, Rominger, Indurain and Bolts. The Maillot Jaune today does finish 14th, 1 minute and 23 seconds back. And Bjarne Riis is the new overall leader of an amazing Tour de France. Riis now leading Berzin by 40 seconds. Rominger is third and Abraham Olano is fourth. Further down the list, Indurain climbing back. He's now up to 8th. And at last the sun has discovered the Tour de France at the town which boasts 300 days a year of sunshine here in Gap. And as the riders make their way from Italy, there's no doubt who these people are going to support when Bjarne Riis comes into the finish. The race is 209 kilometres today, coming out of Turin down to Gap over the mountains. And we left Gary Imlach back at the start in Turin. And just 157 riders rolling away from Turin. The race hasn't been there for 30 years, and this a very sad sight. He's been yo-yoing off the back all day. Laurent Jalabert saying he has a fever, has abandoned the Tour de France, and that is a big disappointment for the French, but that is the way this year's Tour is going. Big names are falling out, or in the case of Miguel Indurain, dropping back. The happiness of the world's #1 just a year ago, when he won on Bastille Day and won the green jersey and finished 4th overall, nothing but a memory. This is Andrea Ferragato passing through our lenses here. It's been a battle all day between Eric Zabel and Frédéric Moncassin for the points for the green jersey competition. Zabel winning both of the sprints so far. But now we have a small group here trying to slip away from the field as we run down towards the finishing gap, and the beauty of the Alps are now all around us. It's a beautiful, warm summer's day. There's where we are, approaching the climb. A little climb it is of the Col de la Sentinelle, and from that leading breakaway, Rolf Sorensen has gone. The opportunist Rolf Sorensen, he usually pops up and goes for gold at some stage. And Sorensen, remember, beat Neil Stevens, the Australian, for a stage win at Montpellier a couple of years ago. The top of the Col de la Sentinelle. It's not a particularly high col, it's only 3rd category, but what a springboard for the downhill sprint now. It's 10 kilometres straight down now into Gap, and then a steady, very steady drag up to the finishing line in the city. A city which they say gets so much sun you hardly ever see rain, and so it's proving today. Richard Virenque getting more points on that 3rd category climb. He won the climb of the Col de Montgenèvre today. The early roads today, very familiar to the riders who rode in the Tour of Italy this year. Now the chase down, if they can catch him, because everybody else has been swept up. Virenque led over the main field there. There's only this man staying away, but just watch Jones on this descent here. Clipping the grass verges as he gives everything on the way down. The roads in the area, ideal for touring cyclists. Not too many cars, in fact virtually none, and terrific roads for touring. But Sorensen is taking just about every risk possible here. He just about braked hard enough to pull his bike round from that bend. They are closing in on him. Oh, and are they closing in on him? 12 seconds is the gap. And it's the Telecom team who are riding hard. Even Bjarne Riis of Telecom is up there now, because, you know, they could go into the rest day tomorrow as leader on both the yellow and the green jersey competitions if they can get Zabel into a high finish down at the end. 5 kilometres from the finish. They're trying to chase down Rolf Sorensen and give Zabel a shot at gold. Bruno Kengialta is out on the attack, trying to reach Rolf Sorensen first. He's got no interest in the progress of German Telekom. The pink jersey of Hendaye, rather strangely being forced into a backseat role this year after dominating the race last year. But they've seen their team leader go out today, and I don't quite know how they will handle that, but Jalabert has gone. He's like Motorola now, the Hendaye, because Motorola lost Armstrong very early on in this year's Tour de France. Now, can they reel in Rolf Sorensen? He has a habit of hanging on. He's a great lone break expert. He's under the 1 kilometre to go banner, and they're right there. They are almost on him now as Pat Jonker launches an attack straight off the front of the field as well. The Australian rider with the Dutch name on the Spanish team. They're right close, but really Rolf must not look around now. Just dig deep and hope he survives as the finishing line approaches. Rolf Sorensen, there he is on the right of our picture. The main field are closing in so very, very quickly now. Richard Virenque is still up there in the action. Laurent Dufault, I think it is, who's trying to end the hopes of Sorensen. He might get there. He sat up as he looks at the sprinters. They're right on him now. Abdou Japarov is coming through as well, but Eric Zabel has got the front. This could be a perfect finish for Telekom. Eric Zabel, Abdou Japarov as they come to the line. Ferragato is tucked in there as well. Baldato too. Eric Zabel gets the victory. Abdou Japarov slaps his handlebars, and that win will give a green jersey to Eric Zabel, who has now got 2 wins in this year's Tour de France. As he did last year when he won at Bordeaux and Charleroi, he's now won at Nogent-sur-Oise and Gap. And this one, I'm sure, will give Zabel green. Ferragato third, Baldato fourth, and there it is. The green jersey on the eve of the rest day to Eric Zabel, and the yellow is on the shoulders of his teammate Bjarne Riis. Evgeny Berzin still second, and Rominger is third. Miguel Indurain, no improvement today, no change at all overall on the rest day in the Alps. And so the riders now move on to stage number 11. Their aching legs eased a little bit by the rest day in the Alps. The battle for the green jersey still centering between Zabel and Moncassin, and Eric Zabel now building a lead over the Frenchman, and Baldato there in third place. Zabel opening with a win at La Roche-des-Arnaud after 11 kilometres today. 28 degrees Celsius, that's a bit better. The westerly winds are blowing and it is warm and sunny. Few small hills and no really steep ones. The Col de Cabra, the second category climb at 47 kilometres, has been won by Richard Virenque from Laurent Brochard, and Magnan getting the third place there. The riders are more or less staying nicely, tightly packed. But one name we've had to say goodbye to, the British rider Max Chandry, has pulled out. And that is a shame, but let's hope he has better luck at the upcoming Atlanta Olympic Games. Rob Madouas of Motorola. Motorola really could do with a little result now as this breakaway has started to get itself clear of the field. This breakaway attacking on the climb of the Col de la Chaux, and the Telekom team led by the big rider Rolf Aldag now having to conduct the chase down, not just for the yellow but for the points jersey as well. The rider on the far side of Madouas there, he's in the Championship of Spain colours, Fernandez Ginés. He is the best rider in the breakaway, lying in 18th place overall, but 11 minutes and 4 seconds behind Bjarne Riis. So the job of the German Telekom team there really is to keep this break under control, but not to worry over much if it gains a couple of minutes on the day, because there's nobody to damage the lead on the road to Valence yet of Bjarne Riis. Big test though for the yellow jersey, as always in the Tour de France. An attack here from Laurent Brochard, trying to break away from this rather unmanageable group of some 10 riders. And Brochard has ridden a very aggressive Tour de France so far and hasn't been rewarded with a good result at the end. He was the rider who went over the top of Jan Zverada in the stage finish that eventually led to the retirement of the Czech Republic rider. And Brochard back in the group. All the riders back together once more. They're thinned down to just 8 men now amongst the riders being dropped to Tilly Bourguignon as we swing round and line up towards the finish in Valence. And again another attacker has gone charging off the front there. That looks like it is Jose Gonzalez, the Colombian rider for Kelme. It's very unusual to see a Columbia rider in the kill in any case in a race that hasn't involved an uphill finish, and he's actually caught them completely off guard. That nobody, I think, expected the Colombian rider to attack. Well, Kelme come to this race every year, invariably go away with one stage win. They too lost their team leader in Holland on that opening stage when Hernan Buenahora crashed. He went out of the Tour, having finished 10th last year, and now there's a chance of some real consolation here. This will be a big surprise. Gonzalez doesn't win any races outside of Colombia, and now he's got his big chance. There's still no reaction from that group. The group behind is watching and waiting, but they haven't come up at all yet. And he might well hang on here. It's a slight rise to the finish, so perhaps the advantage will swing back to the Colombian. His nickname is Kepi. As he comes in towards the finishing line now, this is going to be a great result for Gonzalez. He's going to give Colombia a very, very rare finish indeed. I think we can just about call it a sprint finish. Brochard starts the reaction. Fernandez Gines, he goes on to the right of our picture. And Eli is also trying to get on the picture, but it's too late. Kepi Gonzalez gets the victory. In second place will be Fernandez Gines, champion of Spain. There will be a time gap between them as the main field comes home here. The battle for the points continue. Baldato in the middle, and Eric Zabel is proving just too fast for everybody at the moment, and he gets some points as he finishes a little way down the field there. But there is the happy picture of today's stage of the Tour de France. Jose Kepi Gonzalez of Colombia and Kelme gets the victory in this 202-kilometre race in 5 hours and 9 minutes. And overall, though, there's no change at all. Ries, Berzin and Rominger. And the sun continues to shine as we now head towards the Ardèche. Today is the 12th day of racing for the riders in the Tour de France. There are 151 of them still survive of the 198 who signed in Holland. And the 3 Australians are still there, Pat Jonker, Neil Stevens and Scott Sunderland as well. Overall, the lead is held by the Dane Bjarne Riis. He's 40 seconds in front of Evgeny Berzin, and Tony Rominger is third. And before we go out on the road to Le Puy-en-Velay, a ride of 89 miles through stunning scenery today, let's join Paul Sherwin, who's going to tell us more about the German telecom team.
Team Telecom have undergone a remarkable transformation over the last 12 months. In 1995, they were surprised and disappointed to only get selection for the Tour de France in a mixed team with ZG Mobili. Despite only having 6 members in the race, they still came away with 2-stage victories for Eric Zabel. The addition of Bjarne Riis during the winter and the emergence of rising star Jan Ullrich has changed the outlook of the team. The confidence of 32-year-old Riis has proved instrumental in the change of attitude of the Telecom team. After finishing 5th and 3rd in the last 2 tours, his message was he can win the Tour de France.
Yeah, actually he said it even in the winter time, you know, when we met him first time, and we had a team meeting in November and he signed a contract and he was like, okay, my only goal is to win the Tour de France, and everybody was a little bit, well, yes, we try to help as good as we can, but and then, yeah, we had a team meeting again at the first stage in the Netherlands, and he stood up and he said, okay, this is a team, I think it's a really good team, and if you do everything for me, I try to do everything to win the Tour, and I really hope we can work really good together. And everybody was still a little bit, well, maybe not, but, you know, we got to believe him anyway. I mean, he's the team leader.
For the moment, Riis is keeping his word. He's currently leading the race by 40 seconds. But Team Telecom also have Eric Zabel leading the green jersey competition and rising star Jan Ullrich lying in 5th place. This kind of success is pushing the levels of endurance even higher, especially for the team workers who have to respond to all the attacks, keeping Bjarne Riis in their slipstream so that he can conserve as much energy as possible for the great battles that lie ahead in the mountains.
And the Telecom team really do have the work cut out now, but what a marvellous tour they are having. On the Col de la Champ now at 82.5 kilometres covered, and this a climb of some 16 kilometres, second category, and a little breakaway settling in nicely now. It went clear right out at the start today on the Côte du Pin after some 10 kilometres. And in this breakaway we have Danny Nellison sitting at the back, also here Laurent Roux of the TVM team and his teammate Jesper Skibby. The gap is slowly building. In fact, in that breakaway there are 6 nations represented and 7 different teams, and with 7 teams up there, it's unlikely that this breakaway will be caught. There's nobody in it who are going to seriously affect the overall standings. Jesper Skibby lies 30th overall, but he's almost 28 minutes back, and Pascal Richard, that was the rider just sitting off the back there riding no-handed, he's 44 minutes off the pace from Switzerland. And so it's a day that the Telecom team are not going to commit suicide trying to chase down that breakaway. They'll leave it to others if they want to attack. And we move on now to the second sprint at Monêtier-les-Bains. And this second sprint coming at about 124 kilometres into the stage. And it's been won by Laurent Roux ahead of Eric Breukink and Jesper Skibby. The breakaway still clear. Now, this is a great pastime if you've got a head for heights. And if you haven't, well, that's how to get rid of it. As the race goes by, well timed, as the leaders have gone by, our little friend on the bungee has dived off the top of that beautiful aqueduct or viaduct, I think it was, as we're watching now an attack here by Laurent Roux, who's trying to get away, but there is a reaction. Laurent Roux has been quite a find in the race this year for TVM, and now in the area where he lives. Another counter-attack from the onstage, that Melchior Mauri is digging deep as well. But people are paying attention in this breakaway as they try to just keep a tight control. Look at that for the peloton in a long, thin line. They are beginning to pick up the pace a little bit now. The gap is down to around about 13 minutes, so they are closing in, believe it or not. As we're now seeing Pascal Richard. Now, this rider is an opportunist if ever there was one. A chance to break away for Richard. He'll always take it. Quickly marked by Danny Nelson, but this breakaway under pressure now. Eric Breukink's number 83. And the Polti rider, Mirko Gualdi, trying to get onto the back wheel. It looks as though this move by Richard has failed. Nelson has caught him, the current world amateur champion. The last time we will see that title, because now it's pure open racing, as we will see in the upcoming Olympic Games in Atlanta. And this is the bunch here passing under the banner at Le Monêtier-sur-Oise. Not interested in the points either for the green jersey, because only the first three riders over the line receive points. And this field just about trying to penetrate something into the inroads of the big lead built up by that leading group of some 9 men. Melchior Mauri nears the camera in the pink. Far side, Rolf Sorensen. The pace being set by Pascal Richard. And now we're deep into the heart of Le Puy. A beautiful town, this. A nasty little a surprise for the riders over these last few kilometres. Very undulating roads indeed. Good opportunity to split this breakaway up, but they haven't been able to do that. 2 kilometres to go to the finishing line now, and this looks as though it's going to go down to a tight sprint finish, as the riders are settling in for what is certain to be a sprint now. Jesper Skibby, the TVM boys have got all the riders here to handle the affair if they can get it together. And Danny Nelson, who's tried hard from day one to win a stage. Skibby's got his back wheel. Richard is coming as well. Nelson is going for it now. Skibby dreaming of it. And on the far right is Pascal Richard. Richard, can he read the brakes, this rider? When he gets in them, he usually finishes it off with a victory. He's going to get the win. Pascal Richard, the last time he won a stage in the Tour de France, 1989 at Briançon. Now he's got the victory. Pascal Richard, this is how he did it, and it came very, very easily in the end. This is Richard's 6th Tour de France since 1988. On 3 occasions, he's never reached the finish, but on another occasion, he did win a stage. Pascal Richard gets the victory. He finishes just in front of Jesper Skibby, and this is the main field coming in, and the best part of some 15 minutes has slipped by. Now, can Eric Zabel finish it off? He's lying on the wheels of the Agen riders. In fact, he shot off our camera to the right, I think, Eric Zabel. And Zabel is, there he is, just tucked into the picture. He's going to win easily here. Zabel gets some points towards that green jersey, and that will be a nice little bit of safety in the bank for him, but it's looking pretty hot that he's going to win that jersey now. Overall, Richard is the winner. Jesper Skibby in the same time, and then a few tailed off in the sprint. Eric Breukink at 3 seconds, for example. Zabel bringing the peloton in some 15 minutes late. Bjarne Riis keeps his yellow jersey. Miguel Indurain lies in 8th place, by the way, and he is now 4 minutes 38 seconds behind. And it's now exactly a week since Miguel Indurain lost that time on the climb to Les Arcs, and during that week he's been a very quiet man in the peloton. Well, if he's going to win this tour, he's got to make his move pretty soon. So last night, Paul Showing went to his hotel. Paul, who's ridden the Tour de France alongside Miguel Indurain, asked him the questions that we all want to know the answers to.
Bon, Miguel, maintenant, il reste 9 jours pour le Tour de France. Est-ce que vous avez récupéré de la défaillance que vous avez eue la semaine passée?
Sí, yo espero, ¿no? Espero el poder recuperar esa diferencia, sobre todo de la pájara de Les Arcs y la contrarreloj de Val d'Isère, es la máxima diferencia. Confío, sobre todo con el sol, que venga, que haga calor. Es una buena señal para mí, para mi músculo, que una semana bajo el agua y bajo el frío, pues están un poco todavía doloridos.
Est-ce que c'était difficile de finir l'étape? On vous avez vu beaucoup à la peine dans la dernière montée quand vous avez explosé.
No, difícil acabar, ¿no? Era una etapa que iba bien, iba con fuerza. Tenía pensado atacar, porque la Madeleine y el Roselán he pasado bien. Y tenía pensado atacar los últimos 5 kilómetros, pero no sé, problema de frío o problema de porque comer y beber lo he hecho bien. Entonces ha sido, en 2 kilómetros he sentido las piernas mal, las piernas vacías, no podía más. Justo llegar a meta, no sufrimiento porque no tenía fuerza, pero me costaba mucho y veía que perdía tiempo.
Et le soir, quand vous avez arrivé, est-ce que vous étiez déçu ou vous étiez fâché parce que c'était la cause de le temps ou quelque chose comme ça?
Un poco desilusionado, sí, porque he visto que el Tour pues, está difícil, 5 minutos casi de tiempo, pero tengo que seguir trabajando. Al día siguiente he hecho una buena contrarreloj, he hecho entre los primeros, no para ganar, porque el músculo estaba pues, bastante limpio de energía, pero he estado bien. Al día siguiente en Sestriere también he estado con el grupo de cabeza, entonces visto que no es problema físico, sino que es problema pues, de momento, del frío o cualquier cosa, ¿no? Entonces espero el poder recuperar.
Et maintenant, c'est Vianney, le maillot jaune de la Tour de France. Comment vous le voyez? Pour le moment, il est très fort.
Sí, va très fort. También va el equipo Telecom, va muy fuerte, también tiene un sprinter, tiene grandes corredores y tiene un buen equipo. El Riz está bien, ya ha hecho quinto en el Tour, ha hecho tercero el año pasado. Es un corredor que está fuerte, se mueve bien en la crono, en la montaña, tiene experiencia y está con mucha ilusión. Entonces es el máximo rival en este momento.
Mais c'est aussi difficile parce que pour l'équipe Telecom, c'est la première fois qui sont dans la position de défendre le maillot jaune. Est-ce que vous pensez peut-être un jour ils vont craquer?
Espero, sí, espero que pasen problemas. El problema es que están defendiendo muy bien, son profesionales, no han estado nunca en esa cosa de defender un líder en el Tour de Francia, pero sí igual en otras carreras. Son profesionales, todos los corredores tienen ya una experiencia importante, pero el Tour siempre es diferente, entonces espero que un día paguen ese esfuerzo.
Est-ce que vous avez récupéré toutes les forces que vous avez normalement dans le mois de juillet?
Voy recuperando, todavía el músculo tiene agua, tiene frío, está cada día un poco mejor con este buen tiempo. Espero que conforme vayan pasando días y sobre todo en el Macizo Central haga calor y sentirme bien.
L'autre jour, j'ai parlé avec Pedro Delgado et il m'a dit, moi, je suis sûr que Miguel Indurain il peut encore gagner le Tour de France. Vous êtes de cet avis?
Hombre, está difícil, está complicado, pero tengo ilusión. Estoy bien físicamente, no tengo problemas de catarro, de gripe, eso sí, y a seguir trabajando, esperar el momento oportuno para poder atacar al líder.
And stage 13 on the 13th of July, Le Puy-en-Velay to Superbesse-Saucy, and Superbesse is a nasty little climb to finish a long day of racing of 177 kilometres. A series of little hills will take the riders up to the final finishing line, and they really could be very decisive indeed. In the competitions, the green jersey on the shoulder at the moment of Eric Zabel, who is looking very strong in the sprints now. Frédéric Moncassin, from whom he took the jersey, is still challenging. In the King of the Mountains, Richard Virenque has no challengers, as indeed he has not had any challenges for the past 3 years, it seems. He's now set to complete a hat-trick of wins in the King of the Mountains, but of course the Pyrenees are still to come. But a breakaway today is spoiling Eric Zabel's progress in that race for the green jersey, because it's been other riders snipping up the small bonuses and they have no interest in the point score at all. There's 14 riders here. They had a lead of over 5 minutes, but they are being caught, and there is plenty of chance now on the little stepping stones up to the finish at Super Best. They will be wiped out. Number 148 is Paolo Salvadelli of the Roslotto team. But now, as Chris Boardman sets the pace at the front, they are being picked up by a strong chase back in the main field. Laurent Brochard is the rider third down the line. Claudio Chiappucci is in the move as well, but there is a strong reaction coming now. Stefano Catai to the right of our picture, Luc Leblanc at the head of this chase group here. And this is going to be a very interesting finish now, because there is not a real chance of success, and yet there is, if you think about the fact that they've had the lead, even though they're losing it now. Abraham Olano is in that group as well down there. The main field is completely fragmented under the pressure of what are very difficult roads here. They're heavy roads where the riders really can't get themselves a real shot at the finish at Super Best. The Park team cars on the right now, as the brake starts to get reeled in. Richard Virenque and Luc Leblanc are doing the damage. Virenque finding himself with few riders willing to come out and play in the high mountains. They just seem to surrender as soon as Virenque starts sprinting for the summit of the big peaks, and he chips away at winning the small climbs as well, which gives him such a commanding lead overall in the King of the Mountains. There's Miguel Indurain, number 1 on the wheel of the yellow jersey of Bjarne Riis. Indurain having to come back to this group after a puncture a little bit earlier, but he did it very strongly. He seems to have completely recovered from the problem he had, but he's still got an awful lot of time to make up, and Luc Leblanc is making sure he will try and steal a few more seconds, because he's still looking for all the time he lost on the first day for a high overall finish in Paris. He just loves races which finish on top of mountains. Patrick Jonker coming back from the lead group, just slipping away there. And LeBlanc passing another rider down on the inside as well. So the main field are now getting the way through. It's not really the main field, it's a very select advanced bunch, as riders are picked up one after another. The MG Technogym rider who's just been picked up is Mikola Bartoli, who was also up front. Richard Virenque, a little bit ungainly when he's out of the saddle, but he certainly gets some speed out of that bicycle. Way in the distance is the finish at Super Besse. A long way to go yet for the riders, as Luc Leblanc determined to try and catch them, but the lead car is getting a little bit in the way here. Up towards the front runners now, Rolf Sorensen, number 82, putting on a lot of the pressure. And it looks as though Luc Leblanc is getting across to the last two survivors of the breakaway. Rolf Sorensen is at the front, and I'm not too sure who the other one is, but it could be Claudio Chiappucci. And as we come up alongside, the rider in the lead is in fact Rodriguez of Banesto. Just had the sort of crouched shoulders of Chiappucci there, but it's not. It's Orlando Rodriguez, who was in the breakaway from the outset. As the breakaway is thinned down to just these riders now. Great ride by Leblanc, the same too for Pascal Richard. They've reached the leaders. Sorensen, the crafty rider he is looking just to make sure who else might come across, because he's wondered what happened to the breakaway that was all around him. And the rider who's also got up, Paolo Salvadelli. And quickly onto his wheel. There's only 5 of them left here now in the wide boulevard finish. Rolf Sorensen leading out. Sorensen, the rider who was robbed so cruelly at the finish at Gap when he was washed away to nowhere. What a great camera shot that was as he swings around. Very tortuous approach to the line here. There'll be a sharp left-hander. Here it comes. Sorensen round, followed by Rodriguez in second place. Richard Virenque, who's come up to this lead group, has seen his chance slip away. He sits up in disgust. Rolf Sorensen gets the victory. Rodriguez second. Virenque will have to be content with third. All given the same time, and LeBlanc fourth. Now the race from the rest here. Chris Boardman has been joined by some of the elite now as he makes the corner first. Miguel Indurain takes over the running from him. Bjarne Riis is in the group, so he loses no time. Not to the men that matter. Indurain will get sixth and Boardman takes seventh. There's the stage result. Sorensen finishing ahead of Rodriguez and Virenque. LeBlanc gets the fourth place. So Rolf Sorensen deservedly gets his stage win, as he did at Montpellier a couple of tours ago. Overall, Riis in front of Olano. And so to stage 14, Bastille Day in France. A year ago, it was Laurent Jalabert in the green jersey who was winning the stage. He's now out of the Tour, but Eric Zabel at Lac Chambon is continuing to add up the points in his lead in the jersey competition. His battler is Frédéric Moncassin, who got the second place. It's a perfect day today, 30 degrees Celsius forecast, very, very hot, and really there is no wind at all as we join this breakaway 20 kilometres from the finish. One skirt during the day on the Col de la Croix-Meuron. In fact, Virenque and Riis escaped on the descent, but common sense prevailed and the race regrouped at the front. We now have this breakaway that's trying to stay away, and I think it should stay away now until the finish. It's a question of which one will win. It's a nasty uphill finish here. Festina have their man in the breakaway today as well. And there he is, coming back to check out the pack. Bruno Boscodin is still searching for that elusive stage win. He hasn't got it yet. And the main field, there's something like 3.5 minutes back at the moment. The Telecom team having to do all the work, led by Rolf Aldag. Christian Hen, the champion, the German champion, in a white jersey, but he's very much a part of the Telecom team. Both arms bandaged there for Jan Ulrich after his crashes. There is the green jersey wearer, Eric Zabel, all at or near the front of the peloton. There's the Queen Bee himself, Bjarne Riis, and Miguel Indurain never far from his side. It must be very strange for Indurain to be shadowing the yellow jersey in a Tour de France at this stage of the event. And confirmation too of that breakaway, it is 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Also in that group we have Marco Gualdi, Bo Hamburger, Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, Bourguignon and Didier Roux of the Gan team. So that's the escape. They are now in the town of Tulle, but there is still a way to go because we climb the hill which overlooks the town. In fact, under the 3-kilometre banner, an attack by Bo Hamburger of his TVM. Hamburger has made his move, and there doesn't look to be hardly any resistance. That's Laurent Madouas on the far right, and he was waiting for somebody else to go. He found nobody was. Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov now chasing down Laurent Madouas. But I wonder if they know the finish here, because it's quite a little climb that climbs right up to the line. The crowd are up there. They can probably see from a great distance the enactment here of the tactics. Now it's little Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, the sprinter in the group, reaching out to catch up with Bo Hamburger. He's got him. Now, if the two of them can get together on the climb, there is a chance. There is Roux of Gan trying to head up the chase. A little look over his shoulder, and straight away Bo Hamburger moves to the right of Abdu-Japarov. They pass under the 2 kilometres to go banner. Well, nobody really expected Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov to win a stage today, especially with the uphill finish to come. But he's now put himself in with a chance, and in fact he's launching himself at it. He's gone. He must have taken a good look at Bo Hamburger there and decided the rider didn't have it. The Danes are having a great tour. There are only 5 Danes in this race. Danish television is giving it 100 hours of coverage, and almost daily, in fact I would say daily, we see one of those 5 Danes in the thick of the action when they know they're live on television. And that was Bo Hamburger, but I think, and I dread to say it, but he's fried, as Hamburger drops back, and he now leaves Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov out in the lead. Well, if he wins this is going to go down rather special in the annals of Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, who is normally the sprinter of the Tour de France, and this year we thought he might have had a chance to equal Sean Kelly's victories of 4 green jerseys over the years, but it doesn't look like he's going to challenge for that, as Madouas now has been joined by the Polti rider Marco Gualdi down there. Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov has gone. Gualdi attacks Madouas. It looks as though Madouas is up to that. Madouas marks, but Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, his face belying the pain as he absolutely flies up to the finish here. The road surface is excellent. I think the town of Tulle actually resurfaced the road for the finish. And now you'll see the huge crowd welcome a very popular man in the Tour de France, Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov, 50 metres to go. I wonder if he'll look across to see if he's safe. No, he knows he's safe. This will be an extraordinary victory for Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov. He won his first stage of the Tour de France in 1991 in Lyon. The second place is going to Gualdi. He just gets in ahead of Laurent Madouas, who looks over in time to see Roux taking 4th place, and he'll be about 15, 16 seconds down. And no sign of Bo Hamburger, who was dropped on the climb. So Jamaluddin Abdu-Japarov gets what is in effect his 9th stage win of the Tour de France. He's won at Lyon, Reims, Dinard, Bordeaux, the Champs-Élysées, Armentières, Lac-Saint-Poix. Last year, of course, he got the win again on the Champs-Élysées, and now he's got the stage win here at Tulle. Overall, no change at all. And while the riders make their way today towards Villeneuve-sur-Lot, we believe there are still 5 can win this Tour. That's how open it is. Let's assess their chances. Bjorn Riis's biggest asset is he came to this race believing he could win it. His confidence and morale couldn't be higher. He climbs and he time trials well and has made himself the man to beat. Current odds, the bookies make him the hot favourite. Abraham Olano, the first Spanish World Road Race champion, has finished 2nd in the Tour of Spain last year and 3rd in last month's Tour of Italy. He's never finished a Tour de France, but he's matured this season. His assets are, he climbs and time trials better than most. Current odds, 6 to 1. Evgeny Berzin is a fighter, but he's also susceptible to too many bad days. However, if he can get to within a minute of the leaders after the mountains, he could win this race in the time trial on Saturday. The current odds, 10 to 1. Tony Rominger has yet to prove himself to be anything other than a follower. He time trials with the best, but is handicapped now with the higher place of his teammate Olano. He also has an injured right knee, and his hopes are fading. His current odds, though, 7 to 1. Miguel Indurain has the most to do, but everyone knows his ability after 5 wins. Champions hate to lose races, and Miguel will do his best not to lose this one, but he will have to ride better than ever before. His current odds, he's now 2nd favourite at 11 to 4. But those odds indicating, in fact, many people still think Miguel Indurain can win this year's Tour de France. Today we're racing on through the hot roads down to Villeneuve-sur-Lot without, I'm afraid, the American George Hincapie, who crashed yesterday and has been pulled out by the team doctors because he hit his head. He should be okay, and he is already selected for the Olympic Games. We join the action now. There's a breakaway establishing at the front of 6 riders, and that is the time gap, 8 minutes 29 seconds. Well, so far, this has been a great Tour de France for the people of Denmark. They've enjoyed their men in the action all of the days. Let's now join Gary Imlach and find out more about the 5 riders from Denmark.
To the roll of honour that includes Lager, Lurpak and the Laudrup brothers, the Danes can now add Holm, Hamburger, Skibby, Sorensen and Riis. There are only 5 of them, but the Danes are having a great tour.
Bjarne Riis, the winner of the stage, 46 kilometres today. It's done an awful lot of damage.
Right now in Denmark, if you compare football, the cycling is on the same level, if it's not a little bit higher now.
Sorensen gets it on the line. Rodriguez is 2nd, Berenk is 3rd, Leblanc is 4th, and that was a deserved result for Rolf Sorensen.
Very, very good for Danish cycling, and I think we've reached the peak, and we have to do something about it.
So far in the Tour, there have been stage wins for Riis and Sorensen, 2nd place for Skibby, Holm working hard to keep his leader in the yellow jersey, and all of them appearing at the front on just about every stage for a huge TV audience back home.
It's craziness in Denmark now. People leave their work. We hear from about theatre rehearsals which are interrupted, film shootings interrupted. People want to see the race.
Han kører, vi kommer, og Sørensen holder, det bliver sejt over Sørensen.
The minority of the Danish population not watching the 5 hours of live TV coverage a day seems to have decided to see it in person, and they're having a pretty good tour too. The question remains, though, how so few riders can have such a great impact on the race.
I don't know, I just think we are lucky to have a very good generation of riders. It's great.
I have no idea, really. I think it's just luck.
Of course, the other question is where Jesper Skibby got his haircut and whether he took his helmet off during it. But all that matters to the Danish fans is winning their first Tour.
And it's great to hear too that the Danish people have voted cycling their #1 sport of the moment. Back to the breakaway now. Neil Stevens taking a drink, and the best placed rider in this breakaway is Michele Bartoli. He's 29th, but he's more than 28 minutes behind the leader, so there's a real chance that nobody will be seeing this breakaway today. That's an attack there by Massimo Podenzana, former double champion of Italy, but not a prolific winner at all. Now trying to show them the way home here for what would be his first ever stage win in the Tour de France. He lies 69 minutes behind in 80th place overall, and he's gone. Stevens was looking over his shoulder to see if anybody was going to take it up. Certainly Peter van Petegem wasn't. He's dropped to the back of the group, and a counter-attack coming straight away. This looks like Bartoli. Bartoli was the most likely man to succeed, but he's immediately been countered by Francois Lemarchand. The other riders in this breakaway were Guiarini. He's the only other rider, in fact, I haven't mentioned. And Guiarini sitting midway down the race now. That's him tacked on the back, actually. Neil Stevens has gone. He's gone very quickly into this round. In fact, his back wheel's locked up. I don't know what's happened there. I think he's hit the lamppost. In fact, Neil Stevens went into that corner so quickly, his tyres come off. Now, whether that was a fault of the tyre coming off before the crash or as a result of the way his back wheel was locked up, either way, he misjudged the angle of that corner, and rather lucky that those plastic barriers were in position. Stevens there looking good to have got across. What bad luck that was for Neil Stevens. He was beaten to Montpellier by Rolf Sorensen last time, and now he's lost his chance of a stage win here. He's having a very good season indeed. Already picked for the Australians for the Olympic Games. Well, that's something that Podenzana can't vouch for. He's Italian, and he's heading up to his first ever win in a Tour de France now. In fact, Podenzana rode his first Tour only last year, and he finished a very creditable 26th. Now, can anybody bring him back? There he is. They just can't quite reach him. Massimo Podenzana is going to get the victory here in what is stiflingly warm conditions. As he comes up to the line now, he's going to enjoy the next few moments. He broke away. He chose the right moment. Neil Stevens tried to reach him and was unable to get across to him. And that was rather sad for the Australian, because the second place now is going to go to Guiarini, first-time rider in the Tour. He gets second. And the third place, well, it's a sprint here between Van Petegem and Bartoli. Van Petegem is the TVM rider and looks to be going clear, so he will get third and Bartoli fourth. And the lone figure of Neil Stevens, it's almost 2 minutes on the clock there, but Stevens has got a new bike, and he'd be very, very disappointed with that sixth place, will Neil Stevens. The victory going to the Italian, Massimo Podenzana at Villeneuve-sur-Lot. The man who certainly lost out, Neil Stevens, so let's join Paul Sherwin, who's now with him, the man they call Steve-O.
Well, Steve-O, you looked pretty good in the break there. In fact, we thought you looked one of the freshest.
Yeah, you know, like I said to Podenzana just out the road, you know, like I didn't care who won, but the TVM guy was sitting on all day. I'm sure he wasn't going to win. And when he took off, I just sort of sat behind the TVM guy. And then when Bartoli went, I tried to go with him, and unfortunately my tyre come off of one of the roundabouts, and down I went.
It looked as if you went into the roundabout a little bit too quickly there, and that may be what the problem was.
Yeah, you know, I think the glue should hold on though, but anyway, I'll have a bit of word to the mechanic later on this evening and see what he says.
Well, Bjarne Riis still the overall leader. Here's Gary Imlach with rumour on the street.
Bjarne, everybody's looking forward to tomorrow's stage. You said that you're looking to win it by 2 minutes. Do you still feel as good?
Well, 2 minutes, you never know what happens, but I would like to have 2 minutes to the others, that's for sure. I do what I can, and we have to see what happens.
Is it your kind of stage tomorrow with that huge finish?
If I do a good race, yes.
Well, that's the answer to everything. They'd all love to do a good race. Lord's Hautacam was last used 2 years ago. It is a very difficult climb. If you're watching 2 years ago, you remember it was covered in fog. We never really got a good look at it at all. Well, it's in sunshine today. There's only one survivor left of an early breakaway, and that is Lanroux of the TVM. He's proving to be a very aggressive rider this year, making a lot of friends because of it. But the chase down is now beginning as we start the lower slopes of Hautacam. The main field is more or less together here. Original breakaways all swept up. It's been a good day of racing by just a handful of riders trying to slip away, but they haven't managed to do that. The team car on the left of our picture there was TVM, which means we must be coming up on Lanroux. The indications are the gaps have been closing all of the time. Miguel Indurain, who was on the attack with Luc Leblanc 2 years ago, conceded the stage win, but really did kill off all of his rivals, sitting there near the front of the pack. Abraham Olano, the world champion, he's a standout, as we can see on the far left. An attack by Alex Zula. This is the first serious attack. It comes with 10 kilometers to climb to the summit, and Alex Zula is going to give it a go. If he gets away and gets the time, he will be back in the frame in a big way here. Zula grits his teeth and accelerates away. Now, what sort of a reaction will this claim? The first man that Zula will see will be the little petite climber, Lanroux of France. There he is, and here comes Zula. So Laurent has blown to the wall because the rest of the race is just behind, and Zula goes straight by him. Laurent Brochard, Richard Virenque at the front, Miguel Indurain still there, so too Jan Ulrich. What a surprise Jan Ulrich is turning out to be. And it looks as though the tempo, they've just outridden Zula and brought him straight back into the pack. And I think the man that done the damage was Miguel Indurain himself, so the first and second in last year's Tour de France are right on the front now. And one or two riders beginning to find the sting in the tail here, not least Tony Rominger. There's Evgeny Berzin, who's been rather quiet since he got his good hiding on the road to Sestriere in the Alps. But maybe he'll come back into his own on this climb. Nobody willing. Bjarne Riis seems to be moving up and down the race group here, taking a good look at the riders in the front. There he is, number 21. He's just looked across at one or two of the faces. He keeps on doing it. He's riding alongside the man I think he might think will attack. 111 there, Luc Leblanc. Abraham Olano, Piotr Ugrimov, Evgeny Berzin, all of the big names are still in this front group. Going off from the side of Virenque is Bjarne Riis, and now from Ulrich. Ulrich looks across at him, and you know, Ulrich has sort of sat back there and allowed his team captain to accelerate. And well, having said that, they've come back to him, and the rider who's brought them back is Miguel Indurain. Today we have got to see the start of the return of Miguel if he's going to get back all of the time he has lost. The majority of it, of course, coming on the climb to Les Arcs more than a week ago. The yellow jersey, it's a fine sight when the man who leads the Tour has all of the strength to dominate the front of the main group, as he's doing here. There's nobody in front of this group now. Indurain trying desperately to ride alongside him and remind him just who he is. Richard Virenque takes a good look at them. He continues to build his lead in the King of the Mountains. Yet another brutal acceleration by Bjarne Riis. And still nothing. They just follow his wheel. This time he's pulled about 7 riders clear here. Riis, he's masking Miguel. And now the motorcycle's masking my view, but he's gone out the way, and we're seeing, oh, Berzin's in trouble. He's falling back from the back wheel of Escartine, the green shorted rider in front. So Berzin again caught in the mountains, and this only the first day in the Pyrenees. The brutal days still lie ahead, the hardest days of the Tour undoubtedly, with the longest days to come to Pamplona, where we will actually race past the home of Miguel. Another attack by Bjarne Riis. This has got to be his 3rd or 4th attack here. He keeps on softening them up, but they still claw their way back up. This he's keeping on a little bit longer because he spread the whole field in this breakaway as Bjarne Riis goes once more. I think it's Laurent Dufaux who's trying to get up to him. And Indurain is slipping down. He's lost the grip of first wheel up by the leader, Bjarne Riis. Indurain is moving back down the field here, and I wonder if he's cracked again. Bjarne Riis continues to stay out of the saddle and keep on the pressure. Indurain has cracked. He's being caught here by Lutenberger and by Abraham Olano. The two Spanish riders, first and second in the World Championships and the World Team Time Trial last year, are now detached from the lead group by an inspired Bjarne Riis. This yellow jersey has done all of the attacking, and he's watched the riders tire one by one. He now has just 3 riders left behind him to worry about. There's still a long way to climb here. There's Dufaux, the 2 Festina riders, Richard Virenque, Luc Leblanc. Memories now a little bit foggy of 2 years ago when he won the climb here. And it looks now as though the yellow jersey is playing the cards which will win in the Tour de France, because he really is showing them who is the best man. 5 kilometers to climb. He can pick up an awful lot of time, but then again he can also blow up. As Bjarne Riis heads up towards the summit. And the lone figure here of number 166, that is Leonardo Pipoli. And Laurent Dufaux having his best tour as well. Rocking and rolling a little bit. Brochard in the chase group now. Where is the... And here he is. I was saying about where's number 1. But Miguel Indurain is now being dispatched from the group that contains his Spanish countryman, Abraham Olano. Indurain, it seems, started this climb with a determination to show either himself or the race he was still very much in it, because he rode right on the front, but he could not take that 3rd or 4th acceleration from Bjarne Riis. He's now under that 5 kilometers to go banner. His lead is nosing up. Bjarne Riis produced something special. And you know, in the story he told journalists just before Christmas, he said he knew how to beat Miguel Indurain. But before I tell you that story, there's Rominger with a bandage on his right knee. He has had 1 or 2 very nasty crashes, and I think that knee is now giving him trouble. He'll be a little bit surprised. He was dropped early on the climb. Now he's coming up behind Indurain, and I think he's going to try and accelerate right by Miguel. Miguel might lift his pace a little bit, but it doesn't look as though he can. Indurain just looks across because the road goes around to the right, way up in the sky there. But to come back to my story about Bjarne Riis, he did say that he believes that Indurain could only hold his power for so long on the big climbs. If he could allow him just that time, he could then attack him and destroy him. And that's exactly what has happened today. Riis has never had such physical condition as this. He's proving to be a superb wearer of the maillot jaune. He's doing something, in fact, that Miguel Indurain never could do: win a road race stage while riding in the leader's yellow jersey. Indurain, by my notes now, is falling away from this year's Tour de France, and it's happening on the entry to his own country in Spain. Rominger, an inspired return to the forward groups here, because now he's coming up on the next group, which contains Lutenberg and I think Abraham Olano. This is the chase group of Bjarne Riis, led by Laurent Dufaux, Richard Virenque, Luc Leblanc. Leonardo Pipoli is the 4th man who's done a good ride to get across. Rominger now the driving power in the chase group, trying to recuperate some of that lost time. They're not going to catch this man though. He won at Sestriere to get the yellow jersey. He's now going to win his first day in the Pyrenees at Hautacam to increase his lead in it. Riis taking the short way around as he climbs up to Hautacam. There's no way back but down the way you come up to this mountain, which stands some 25 kilometers away from the city of Lourdes. Even though you're tired, you just feel so inspired when you know that everybody is behind you. And what class! Virenque, Dufaux, Pipoli sitting here at the back as he rides behind the 3 Frenchmen, well, 2 Frenchmen and a Swiss, but 3 French-speaking riders. A massive crowd here at Hautacam who have followed this most interesting tour these last couple of weeks. And look at this now, a signal from Riis to say, it's me, I'm number 1. Determined face on him, he sprints up towards the line. This is going to be one of Bjarne Riis's greatest ever victories now, to win at a stage like this when you wear the maillot jaune, to look at the riders and blow them one by one off your wheel. You know you are the very best. Inside 5 hours for the ride as well. Bjarne Riis gets the victory. He will increase his overall lead by every second he stops over that line, and these riders stay out this side of it. Laurent Dufaux trying to open the sprint, but he'll have a little problem with his own teammate, I think, Richard Virenque, because there are mounting points here as well. Dufaux takes a good look at Virenque, realises he needs the points for the King of the Mountains. He probably won't challenge him, but he wants to conserve time, and he digs deep to find that little extra effort to hang on to Richard Virenque as they race to the line. And Luc Leblanc will have to be settling for 4th place. Virenque comes clear, and Dufaux in the same time gets 3rd. It's a good result for Festina. Luc Leblanc comes over the line in 4th place, and they're almost a minute behind conceded. Tony Rominger is going to be best of the rest with a 6th place finish, but he's going to lose the best part of a minute and a half or more. And just behind him is Jan Ullrich, another fine ride by this youngster who was the 1993 World Amateur Champion. A great sprinter, a great time trialist and a great climber. All the qualities you need to one day win the Tour de France. Miguel Indurain is going to finish in 12th place, a far cry from the 2nd place just behind Luc Leblanc of 2 years ago when he was already in a commanding overall lead. I think it's safe to say now Indurain is not going to win his 6th successive Tour de France, and he'll stay a member of the famous 5 club. The man today, though, is Bjarne Riis. Here he is winning the stage, and now he is with our Paul Sherwin.
7 kilometres to go on the climb today. You dropped to the back of the group. Was that just to check out how everybody was? Then you just went?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to see how they looked in the faces, and most of them didn't look so well. So I tried a few times just to, not 100%ly, to I attacked, but not 100%ly. And then I saw they were in difficulties, so I tried to win away, and it worked.
You surprised that Indurain cracked?
Well, yes and no. I think on the mountains he didn't look so good until now, and I saw him today in the beginning. He looked a little bit heavy, not so good as the other years. So I'm sorry for him. I would like to have him on the podium with me, but well, it's the race, and I'm sorry for him. I would like if he could win tomorrow.
What a gracious man Bjarne Riis is. He now wins this stage by 49 seconds over Virenque and Laurent Dufaux. Overall, his lead is now up to 2 minutes and 42 seconds over Abraham Olano. Rominger is up to 3rd. And so to the feared 17th stage, the longest stage of the Tour, 163 miles. It crosses the giants of the Pyrenees as we leave France bound for Pamplona. And as we head for Pamplona, here's Gary Imlach with his opinion on the city's most famous pastime.
For those with bull byproduct for brains and a need to prove their manhood, Pamplona is the place to be in July for the running of the bulls. The Festival of Saint-Fermin this year produced no fatalities, except of course for the bulls eventually when they got to the ring. Just the usual mixture of locals and tourists, demonstrating the effects of the usual mixture of sangria and stupidity. The patron saint of gratuitous machismo, Ernest Hemingway, who popularised Saint-Fermin through his novel The Sun Also Rises, has been honoured by Pamplona with a street and a statue named after him. Today, though, all the attention will be on a more local hero. Miguel Indurain was born just a few kilometres from today's finish, and the route goes past his mum and dad's doorstep. Despite the fact that he won't be riding by in the yellow jersey, the locals have done him proud, with banners and a mini grandstand for all his well-wishers. Mind you, as the official drink of the Tour, I don't think Coke will be too thrilled about the catering arrangements.
Well, Gary Imlach, not really a supporter of bull running in Pamplona. As we now join the race, the attack here coming from Neil Stevens. He's gone on over the top of the Col d'Aubisque. And Stevens has gone out very early on today. He certainly isn't a climber, but because of the long stage it is, this Pascal Hervé going over in 2nd place, and Michele Bartoli. The reason I think that the field have not worried too much about Neil Stevens is because they're scared of the distance and the heat. 36 degrees Celsius forecast, very light winds and very hot indeed. And it will be an easy day on which to destroy yourself with the climbs of the Col du Soulor. Col d'Aubisque now behind us as we head on here to the climb of the Col du Soudet. Stevens has won the climb over the Marie Blanc. This is an outstanding piece of riding by the man we never considered to be a climber, but this is the way the race is going this year. The infighting is already beginning amongst the heads of state of the event. 2 minutes 4 seconds down for Ugrimov, leading over this group. Virenque, Ries and Ugrimov was the order as they went over the top of that climb, and already Ries is beginning to show his strength here and move clear. Indurain is in all sorts of trouble. He has been dropped on the climb of the Soudet and is reported to be almost 2 minutes back. Here's Luc Leblanc, who's climbed his way up to alongside the yellow jersey of Bjarne Ries. Peter Lutemberger is here too, and turning out to be something of a star in the mountains in this year's Tour de France. And also in trouble again, apart from this man here who's now being dropped from that small elite group, Alana was in that group, and so too was Tony Rominger. So Rominger now dropping away from third place overall as well. The whole thing is turning around once again. Indurain, I think at this point now, nobody is any longer surprised seeing him off the back of the groups. Clearly his form is not good. It is sad, though, to think that after all these years, we're going home to Miguel Indurain's city, and he will not be wearing the leader's yellow jersey. And somebody is applying the pressure at the front of this group as well, and they're taking time out of Indurain all of the way up the climb. We're heading up towards the top of the Porte de l'Arrow, the all category climb. A yellow wig, but not a yellow jersey for Big Mig, and I think he's just turning those pedals over. It's almost something he's doing automatically because he is in serious trouble. And don't forget, these are roads over the years he must have trained many thousands of miles. Massive crowds have turned out. The Basque flag of Spain is down there waving away at the forward elite group, and this I must say, this elite group, which is now picked up Neil Stevens. And in fact, trouble for Virenque. He's just had a flat, but he's changed it very, very quickly. And a very good change it was too. He's not going to panic here because he's still on the tail of the group. Magnificent wheel change. As Virenque sprints back up towards the leading pack. Now, as he got back in time to get to the front and snatch the points for the King of the Mountains, Laurent Dufaux, his teammate, who's also riding to a high position overall now, waited for him, is now trying to get him through in time to get the points at the top of the Porte de l'Arrow. Virenque racing through on the inside. It is Bjarne Ries keeping control of the pace at the front. Peter Lutemberger, Escartine, Dufaux are the last three riders here. And you know, I think Virenque has got through. He raced straight back up to the front. He should be there in time to go for the maximum points on this all-category climb. This is the situation when the crowd were getting a little bit excited here. Oops-a-daisy. I think Richard Virenque made his feelings known there. Anyway, he's now back on the front as he comes up towards the top of the climb. He's got Piotr Ugrimov and Bjarne Ries are the two riders directly behind him. Laurent Dufaux has climbed his way through the group as well. 4 minutes 40 seconds the gap. The Tour de France is right here now. We go away from the Pyrenees tomorrow and race back into the border town of Hendaye, and then we start our way up to the final showdown around Saint-Émilion for the time trial, and then all that remains is the journey to the Champs-Élysées in Paris. The crowd just fanning back as Richard Virenque takes maximum points on the Porte de l'Arrow to increase his overall lead in the King of the Mountains, and he's pretty much untouchable in that now. He really has not had any challenge for that jersey for 3 years, and he's going to be the man to win it 3 times straight. Well, this is the look of the draw. He's now punctured again on the way down the Porte de l'Arrow. This time he's going to have a little bit more effort. Maybe lucky for him, the climb itself doesn't have any real descent initially, and he should get back. This long stage of albeit 262 kilometers. And 7 minutes 8 seconds now. So Alano has gone today as well. Indurain has gone on 3 occasions now, and his loss are going to be in double figures when he gets to the finish. As we race in now towards the finish at Pamplona, the field is regrouped at the front. Jan Ullrich is in this group. You know, that young man could be second overall, and he's ridden unselfishly all of the time for his team leader, and yet he's still found the strength to go with the moves. He is in this lead group, and there he is leading the race now, still thinking of Bjarne Ries. Virenque is right there behind him, followed by Peter Lutemberger. who is doing what the Austrians had hoped from him and feature in the Tour de France. Laurent Dufaux dropped off to our left, and there's a searing attack. He came from nowhere. Did you see that from Bjarne Riis? He's just shot out of the pack, and that's caused a bit of a reaction. In fact, Dufaux has gone after him. Jan Ullrich is chasing him, and I'm not too sure whether that's a wise move, unless he feels with this distance to go, he really should think about getting into the move with Bjarne Riis. Riis has dropped back, and I think it might be Dufaux who's kept up the action. It's Dufaux who's gone across to the group. But they've all come back together again, as indeed the yellow jersey goes again. The sharp left-hand corner is heading up towards the finish. Round what is normally a big roundabout, there it is. And now the riders, we've got two riders clear here, and I think Dufaux has hung on to the back wheel of Bjarne Riis. This slight figure of the Swiss rider who's having a superb tour. This is only his 4th ever Tour de France. He's finished 2 of them, 35th and 19th. He was last year. He's improving all of the time. He looks across at Bjarne Riis. The gap has opened. Escartin has been left at the front of that group. Bjarne Riis has taken up the running now. Another emphatic ride by the Maillot Jaune. He's gaining time over everybody again, except, of course, Laurent Dufaux, who's going to hang on and try and take this stage away from the Dane. The Dane has got 2 great stage victories on the road here in this year's Tour. In the mountains, he's come over the longest stage today in the Pyrenees. Is he going to make it 3? 3 very significant stage wins indeed. But he's going to lead out Laurent Dufaux, and Dufaux isn't a bad finisher either. And in fact, Bjarne Riis puts his head down, but Dufaux has still a lot of speed despite the long hours in the saddle today. He gets his first ever stage win, and what a stage win to remember. The sprint for 3rd place, it looks like Richard Virenque being challenged by Jan Ullrich. Jan Ullrich takes him on, Virenque gets it from Ullrich. And so Ullrich's famous sprint blunted a little bit by the distance, and I'm not surprised for that young man. But here's the victory going to Laurent Dufaux. Another great day, though, in the life of Bjarne Riis, who will increase his overall lead in the Tour de France and will push Miguel Indurain back into double figures, and no one would have thought that was possible. Here is the sprint from the Rominger group. And really, after 8.5 minutes, the gap, nobody is too interested in the result of that. Indurain made no effort to contest the sprint. He passed his home earlier on, and there was a little grandstand outside. They cheered him by, and he salutes the crowd, and this is a nice gesture of sportsmanship. Coming back to the podium, Bjarne Riis comes back especially to congratulate Miguel Indurain. The overall standings after stage 17, Bjarne Riis 3:59 ahead of his teammate now, Jan Ullrich. Virenque is up to 3rd, and look at this, Indurain 15 minutes down in 11th place. Well, it should be a little bit easier today, just 96 miles on the road to Hendaye. And I should imagine the sight of the sea here in Hendaye will be a source of welcome relief to those remaining in this year's Tour de France. Well, there were many changes over the past 2 days, so let's now update you with all of the jersey competitions. In the green jersey points competition, Eric Zabel is proving an equally obstinate leader and has a lead of 57 points. He leads over the Frenchman Frédéric Moncassin. A high finish today for Zabel, and that could end this competition with 3 days to go. The King of the Mountains is, for a 3rd year, the private domain of Richard Virenque, who is 109 points ahead of Bjarne Riis. And providing Virenque finishes in Paris, he'll become the first triple winner of the competition since Julio Jimenez 30 years ago. In the young rider competition, Jan Ullrich has been outstanding and leads by virtue of his 2nd place overall. This year, this classification has been dedicated to the memory of the Italian Fabio Casatelli, the Olympic champion who died in the race last year when he crashed in the Pyrenees. During the race's passage through the mountains, the Tour de France visited the new memorial on the Col de Porte d'Aspet. Race director Jean-Marie Leblanc, Casatelli's Motorola team manager Jim Okowitz, and rider and teammate Frankie Andreo, seen here placing a wreath, were present at a short but moving ceremony. And the Tour de France will always remember Fabio Casatelli, as we all will. Back to the race now, here to Hendaye, and the riders are forming at the front and looking for a chance to slip the field. It's been a day for the sprinters. Zabel has added a few more points. to his overall lead in the green jersey competition. He's making that competition now his very own. The small climbs have not produced anything really spectacular, but this breakaway which got away is now going to treat us to a two-man sprint here between Christian N, another telecom man, the champion of Germany, and Bart Voskamp of the TVM squad. The winds have been very, very strong today, blowing in off the ocean, and Voskamp, a Dutchman, has manoeuvred Hen into the lead here and forced him to lead out. Hen is now going to have to make a long sprint of it, and coming on the protected side of the wind is Voskamp, and Voskamp, well, he gets the stage win for TVM. And that will go alongside the stage win of Jerome Blijlevens way back at the beginning of this tour. But overall, no change at all today. Ulrich is still second, Virenque still third. And so the calm before the storm as the riders now face up for the long ride to Bordeaux. And then the time trial tomorrow, 140.7 miles today. And not surprisingly, the riders enjoying some very, very nice countryside, and the views aren't bad either. As the race now continues to be a battle for the green jersey, and Moncassin again taking on Zabel, losing there at the town of Lyon after 83 kilometres. Baldato snatched the third place. Fabio Baldato sprinting better and better as this tour goes on. But the field refusing to crack under the pressures as we're now starting to wind up for the finish as we approach the city of Bordeaux, always a domain of the sprinters, and Chris Boardman here launching an attack. He's had a rough ride through the mountains, but he appears to be coming out quite strongly now. But they've gone right around him as they race for the line. It's a Rabobank rider who's gone, and I don't think on this it could be Danny Nelson, but anyway I can't tell you from this height, but in fact he's gone for the line. And the field are after him under the 1 kilometre to go banner now. The whole field still together. And this could be another win for Eric Zabel. You know, he's been sprinting so well. He's had 2 stage wins so far. The team have worked hard to keep him all together. That looks like the style now of Vyacheslav Yekimov on the right of our picture, as he still tries to get that elusive stage win with a laced last kilometre run at the line. But they're coming right up to him, and I think they have him under control. Zabel I've caught a glimpse of in the green jersey. It's being laid out now by Christian Hen, the telecom rider, who was second yesterday, and a big surge now coming up on the left-hand side. Baldato is down there too. Abdu Japarov has got in on the action. Andre Schmil is off to the left, and this is going to be a very good finish indeed. There's Zabel, and he's got Moncassin on his wheel. They're switching around a bit. Andre Schmil has made a break for the line. He's being chased by an MG rider. I think it's Bartoli. But now the run is coming, and still Zabel and Moncassin have yet to make a move. Right into the centre of our picture now. Zabel is coming. He's got Moncassin on his wheel, and Moncassin is coming off his wheel. Moncassin has got it on the line with a fabulous piece of sprinting. That was judged to inch perfection by Frédéric Moncassin, and that will be his second stage win of this year's Tour de France. But I don't think it'll be enough now to win in the green points jersey in Paris. Even so, a stage win is a stage win. And it was led out here by Fabio Baldato, who crashed out of the race a year ago. And he didn't quite have the legs to hang on to the line. Look at the surge here coming from Eric Zabel, but it was read perfectly by Frédéric Moncassin, who was moving at full speed. First of all, the sprinters were together, and then they fanned out. Moncassin, Zabel, Baldato. That's the order on the line, 3 top sprinters. And the green jersey stayed with Eric Zabel, and that's going to be his now in Paris. 129 riders left in the Tour de France now as we head up for the moment of truth. Driving 62.5 kilometres in a little more than an hour in a car, nothing but a leisurely drive. Try doing it on a bike in a time trial in the Tour de France. It personifies pain and suffering. The riders call the time trial the race of truth. It really is the ultimate battle between man and machine. And for everybody now, it should mean the final reshuffling of the classification. Chris Boardman, will he fight back and land a good one? He set the mark during the time trial from an early mark out in the climb up to Val d'Isère. Now this time trial should suit him even more, if of course he's feeling okay, and the indications are he's leading at the checks. Miguel Indurain, here he is flying through. He's chasing the time of Chris Boardman. 1:16.22, he's well inside Chris. This is going to be a great ride by Big Mig. He will go fastest on the board after Boardman. 1:18 for Boardman, 1:16 for Miguel Indurain. A little cobble street in the beautiful, beautiful town of Saint-Émilion. They've all worked so hard to make this a great day out for everybody on the Tour de France today. Indurain refuses to lie down, and I'm sure will go to the Atlanta Olympic Games and do his very best to snatch a gold medal in the time trial there. But this has developed now into a personal battle between the Festina riders Richard Virenque and his teammate Laurent Dufaux. Virenque now coming home. This could switch around the overall classification for the 3rd and 4th place. It's been an extraordinarily good ride by Virenque, because look at the time. Virenque crosses the line, 1:18.01. That is going to keep him high up on the leaderboard and might well keep him 3rd in Paris. Very good ride indeed by him. But the times are about to be rewritten, I think, because Ulrich has closed in, having started behind Richard Virenque. Now Jan Ulrich is going to do a great time here that should put him on top of the leaderboard. This young man, who is a great time trial rider, the German Cycling Federation gave him a choice: the time trial in the Olympic Games or the Tour de France. He took the Tour de France, and he's going to win the time trial, I think. 1:15.31. He has been up on Bjarne Riis all of the way by quite big margins. So Bjarne Riis is going to have to pull out something absolutely sensational now if he's going to knock off the top of the leaderboard Jan Ulrich, his young teammate. Riis is going to concede quite a big slice of his overall lead to Jan Ulrich, and it now just goes to show how wise Riis was to take all of the time he could when he was out there on the mountains of the Pyrenees and in the Alps, because Ulrich is finishing this tour so well and has to be seen as a winner of the future. But this year now, it's going to be Bjarne Riis who will get Denmark's first ever win in the Tour de France. Tomorrow they go to Paris, and Bjarne Riis is coming home, no, not as the winner of the time trial, but his lead too much to be damaged too much today, although Ulrich has certainly closed in 2nd place overall. Bjarne Riis heads up to the finishing line now. He's going to concede a little bit of his time today, but Jan Ulrich will take the victory. There's Ulrich's time of 1:15.31. As Riis comes up to the line here, he's conceding more than 2 minutes of his overall lead to Jan Ulrich. And that's going to make it look a little bit more fragile when we look at the record books in the year to come. Ulrich wins from Miguel Indurain, who is on his way back, but overall, look at that now. Ulrich has closed in to 1 minute and 41 seconds. The last stage, stage number 21, Palaiseau to Paris, 147.5 kilometres, and that is the sight they've all waited to see. Eros Poly, little premature celebration, even if the bottom of the glass is broken. Well, it doesn't matter now, does it? It's all broken. On to the finish now, the riders approaching the end of what has been one of the most remarkable Tours de France this year, and a tremendous race it has been too. The breakaway, which has been away for virtually all of the laps here on the Champs-Élysées, it looks like being wiped out. André Schmil tapped in on the back of that breakaway, but the main field have been working very hard to close it down. The breakaway went on the first lap, but it is now coming back in together as the riders line up for the finish. The 129 survivors, and that is all of this viciously hard Tour de France. The last man for the record books is Master Puy of the Agrigel team. He will finish this tour almost 4 hours behind the winner, Bjarne Riis of Denmark. Into the tunnel now for the last time and out into the daylight again. The riders lining up for a sprint. This has been a great tour for the great sprinters as well. They've all been here. Cipollini again will not see the finish in Paris. He made his mark very early on. In fact, not very far away at Wasquehal when the Tour came into France in the north. Now they go back down the Place de la Concorde, heading towards the finish here. 1 kilometre to go. Will the sprinters hang on and have their day yet again? First of all, they've got to catch that little breakaway, which contains Pascal Richard, Johan Museo. They're all up there. But I think they will now, because you can't hold back floodwaters of this pressure as they come towards the breakaway. They are catching them. The breakaway itself knows it's all over. They can sit back. They have a grandstand seat now for the sprinters. There'll be the dash across the Place de la Concorde, the right flick, and there's one rider there trying desperately to survive to the end, but he's not going to do it now. I think it's Flavio Vanzella of Motorola who's made the dash for the line. But the field is all together as the field make the right turn for the finish now. It's going to be a day for the sprinters. Schmil is still in there, right on the front as they make the turn. Now they will see the finishing banner, and it's going to be a battle. Baldato is in the centre of the picture. as they try to reach the finish first. But it's not going to be for the breakaway. Schmill and Co are being wiped away as the top sprinters come on the left. Baldato, Moncassin, Zabel, Blyleven's coming now. Baldato trying to hold on. Abdu Japarov's there. Fabio Baldato gets it. That was a sprint royale. Every top sprinter, and I think they've all landed in the top 5 places on the stage. The victory going to Fabio Baldato from Frederic Moncassin on the right, and on the far left of our picture, Jerome Blyleven's. He gets there, but what a just result. The man who hadn't won the stage so far gets it now. But the man who's won the Tour de France, Bjarne Riis of Denmark, the first time ever for a Dane to win the Tour. He's won it well from a man who I'm sure will win this Tour in the future, Jan Ullrich, a minute 41 advantage. Richard Virenque climbs onto the podium as well in 3rd place after a great battle with his teammate Laurent Dufaux, who gets 4th. The Danish flag flying high on the Champs-Élysées as they salute the crowd, and Zabel, the first German since 1990 to get green. This has been Denmark's Tour. What a great feeling it must be for Riis and the crowd. They've enjoyed a day really very special. And they won't be the only ones enjoying an end to this tough tour. They have raced through the rain, the wind, the snow and the heat to get to the Champs-Élysées, all 129 of them deserving their finish. 18 riders won stages in this year's Tour de France. Not all of those will finish the race, but they did enjoy a precious moment, as indeed we did with them. Let's now remind ourselves as to who they were. Alex Zülle was the first leader after the prologue in Holland. He suffered and crashed in the mountains though, and will finish disappointed. Frederic Moncassin, 2 stage wins and a yellow jersey. This has without doubt been Fred's best tour. Mario Cipollini, the flamboyant Italian, got his stage win and then gave up the race. The Olympics are now his target. Eric Zabel, the German sprinter with 2 stage wins, is set to celebrate his first green jersey in Paris this afternoon. Cyril Sogrin, a newcomer to the Tour, he was a surprise winner at the Lac de Madine, but then he abandoned a few days later. Jerome Blyleven's Holland sprinter got an early win on stage 5, but in finishing his first Tour, he also blunted his rapid sprint finish. Michael Bogart, another Dutchman in the fray when he took the risks in the wet at Aix-les-Bains. He's enjoyed his Tour with 1 stage win and a high finish in Paris. Luc Leblanc, he'll be remembered as the man who won in the Alps the day Miguel Indurain cracked. He would have liked to have finished higher. Evgeny Berzin, the Russian, started well with the yellow jersey and a stage win in the Alps, but the Pyrenees beat him and his Tour became a disappointment. Bjarne Riis, multiple stage wins for him and the yellow jersey for the final 12 days of this Tour. He really has been the best. Kepi Gonzalez, a Colombian winner on a flat stage, means we'll always remember him. It was an occasion to enjoy. Pascal Richard, the Swiss rider, is an opportunist, and 1 stage win for him plus a top half finish will leave him very contented. Rolf Sørensen, another success for Denmark. Rolf won at Superbesse. He'll also be on the Champs-Élysées today. Jamoluddin Abdu Japarov got his win in an uphill finish. 1 he'll treasure, and his 9th stage win in 7 tours. Massimo Podenzana, another veteran, but for him his first stage victory in any Tour de France. It came at Villeneuve-sur-Lot. Laurent Dufaux, enjoying his best Tour ever. Laurent won in Spain and will enjoy his highest finish today. Bart Voskamp, rarely a winner. Voskamp chose his 3rd Tour to taste victory. And yesterday, Jan Ullrich, who is set now to finish 2nd in his very first Tour de France, he put in his claim to be a future winner of this great race when he took out the time trial. And well, he might be, but let's not forget, in the year that Miguel Indurain lost the Tour de France for the first time in 6 years, he was a champion to the end. He made sure he finished 11th, almost 15 minutes behind. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. I'm Phil Liggett, speaking on behalf of Gary Imlach and Paul Sherwin, and for World Cycling Productions, until the next time, goodbye.